John Ortonfall spent his childhood on his family's farm, just south of the Duvet Forest. His parents, Derlin and Macy, had raised him well, teaching him what he needed to know to one day take over. Financially, they did quite well for themselves, carting their crops to nearby towns and cities for sale, although the frigid weather that often surrounded their home did not make it an easy life. As is the case with most youngins living the farm life, John eventually sought to see what else the world had to offer, and so he left in search of what opportunities the neighboring city had for him. It wasn't long before he realized the city life was not his to live. The boy who left, though, had become a man, and the man had met a woman, a blacksmith's daughter by the name of Sarithia. They fell for each other quick, and before they knew it, their love blossomed into a marriage and a son. The son they named Derlin, after John's father. John eventually returned home to his parents' farm with his family, where they made a life for themselves, a new life for his wife and son, but one all too familiar to John. They were happy. That is, until the day vile creatures from beyond the veil made their way into their home. After being driven from his homeland by the insatiable undead that now plague it, John seeks out those brave enough to aid him in cleansing his land of the foul fate that befell him and his family, and exacting the vengeance he so eagerly thirsts for.
As a child, Celeste Highcrest would never have dreamed of leaving the sheltered life of luxury she had become accustomed to. Born to two noble parents in a land far beyond the Vale, Celeste's childhood had been fraught with expectation. Her father, High Archivist Saran Highcrest, had set high standards for his two children, and the elder of those two elves, Celeste's sister Cressida, had surpassed all of them. Cressida had found her talents at an early age, her nose buried in books, and magic coming to her as easy as breathing. Celeste, however, had struggled in the shadow of her sister's success for as long as she could remember, never quite meeting the expectations of her father, and always the object of his disappointed glances. When the two elves came of age, they sat the entrance exam to join their father at the sanctum, to become mentored under his tutelage and scribe ancient texts in the archives. Cressida, to no one's surprise, had passed the exam with overwhelming success. Celeste, on the other hand, held true to her long-standing tradition of always being second best. It was rare that one should ever choose to leave their homeland, but never being able to escape the constant overshadowing from her sister, Celeste had decided it was finally time to break free of this tradition. For here, she would always be Cressida's sister, never her own person. But if she were to leave, perhaps she could finally forge her own path. She found her way to the dimension door, stepping through for the first time and finding herself in a land strangely familiar, yet unlike anything she had ever experienced. She boarded the first ship she came across, bound for the kingdom of Quell, and spent years travelling these oceans between continents, desperate to find something worthy enough to bring home as tribute to her family. Until one day, the news found her. The door that she had stepped through to enter this plane had vanished, along with every other door that could lead her home. Now stuck, seemingly an entire universe between her and her homeland, Celeste is searching for answers, and some miracle that could lead her home again.
Ingwe grew up in an exclusive, reclusive community of druids. His elders, ancient and wise, one of the greatest, his mother, was a great storyteller, and he grew up sharing their stories. While the community has very strict rules and customs and routines, each member is encouraged once in a lifetime to travel out into the world and experience the trials and tribulations, bring back their challenges to share and to tell the story of the world.
There we go. Now everyone can hear everyone.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I think I figured out the technique. We'll see. We'll see.
We're here.
Who knows at this point? Who really knows? Radio.
Howdy.
Hope that everyone is sound and safe, and that everyone can hear us. I'm pretty sure you can, but yeah, who knows? Like I said,
Hopefully everyone can hear everything. The obligatory first 10 minutes of the stream for fixing any technical issues.
yeah, I really wish there was an easier way to do this. Oh well, I'm pretty sure we are good to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can hear myself.
Yeah,
Oh,
someone's
blast that.
someone's
It
putting
is.
the sound up.
Crazy.
It is my 4th month anniversary streak for subbing with Prime.
Because we've
Wink, wink.
been affiliates for 4 months and we've been streaming for 5, which is cool.
Yeah, that's actually true. This is the 5th month that we've been streaming. You're very right. Oh, that look at that.
I'm used to that.
We got a resub from Laura.
Oh my god, who is she? Oh, bless her.
Who's that?
Yeah.
We love her.
And apparently I am also now an AG election, even though I was automatically resubbed. But whatever. Yeah, cool.
Oh,
Frisky!
Thank you for the song!
Thank you for dropping in.
Yay! We got a hype train.
Oh,
What?
I love that.
How do we do a hype train? How does that work?
It just
Basically.
means that there's a lot of people subscribing all at the same time.
Oh no, we broke it. My Twitch, it's broken.
Can we possibly put the alert box maybe somewhere? Because it just, when it comes up, it covers Sharrock's face.
Oh, I'll put it over your face. So
Okay, we can put it over my face.
I'll make it a little smaller. I'll put it in the middle instead, over all the memes that I have added. Yeah, the
We can
old
put it, like,
memes,
next to
unfortunately.
your face.
Next to my face, but I want it to be the center of attention.
Excellent.
Thank you, Lamb.
Can we get our own things on this thing?
Like, what are you on Uber Eats right now, or what are you doing?
No, everyone's cheering.
What?
I learned how to cheer ages ago.
You learn how to cheer.
Yeah.
Oh, Wolf Sister,
Progress.
thank you for the gifted sub.
Thank you.
Oh, well,
Paying it
look
forward.
at this. Bless everyone. I'm getting emotional, you guys.
Oh.
Only like 5 minutes into the stream.
We're
And
already
she
on the
gifted
level
to
2 hype
me.
train. What is this? Crazy.
I have never had a hype train before, so I'm not sure what to do. I'm a virgin.
We've had one on this channel before.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Went
don't
through
pay
a
attention
lot of
apparently.
Crazy.
I hope that wasn't rude.
Happy Valentine's Day, Frisky. I love you so much. Will you be my Valentine? We just won't tell Phil. It's fine.
Fair. Right. Well, thank you everyone for dropping in. My name is Tom. I'm the producer and dungeon master of Monsters and Mayhem. If you have more dice than I don't even know what to say today, like
Valentine's.
uncut grass or unwashed laundry, you come to the right place. Or Valentine's. That probably would have been a bit of choice, but yeah.
Gotta keep it
About it.
thematic.
I'm not that quick. Anyway, thank you everyone for dropping in. We have a whole bunch of people. Today I can read the chat. We're apparently on a 42% hype train now. I can see what's going on. I know what this means now. I have words. There we go. Welcome everyone. How are you doing, Shirok? How are you doing in this very moment?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good.
I'm hype. I'm ready.
It's good.
keen.
What about you, Jacob?
Cheering.
Yeah, I'm pretty hyped. Pretty ready
Cool.
to go.
And you, Laura?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm feeling a bit full because I stuffed my dinner just before we streamed. So
Right.
I'm having a
That's
little
right.
bit of indigestion. But other than that.
That is fair. That is fair. And what about you, Mr. Naruto? First time on the show as a member. Yes, technically second time.
Exposure.
If anyone
Oh,
wants
yeah,
to
I'm
watch our Christmas episode, he is definitely in there.
Had to organise
cool.
Valentine's Day lunch instead of dinner because for some reason I'm busy during dinner time.
Sorry about that. I know that feeling.
Thank you so much for the sub, Commander Kitty!
Oh, thank you very much, Commander Kitty. I'm not sure if you can even see that little thing. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger.
Trial
like
and error,
it's hot.
boys.
Yes. I'm just gonna put next to my name. There we go. Anyway,
Streaming group, yeah.
welcome everyone to our second recap episode. It's been a bit of a journey. I think that everyone has emotional damage from the first many episodes. And it will only get worse from here, I promise.
It's like a politician promising terrible things for the people.
yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
I will make
yeah.
things worse, don't you worry.
See, the problem with it, the problem with a politician promising anything is that it never happens. So technically, that's a double negative.
We're in the clear.
We're in the clear. No, it's all good. Well, we have a few episodes to get through. So, we're on a 72% hype train now. Apparently, that's the thing. That's so cool. That's so cool. Thank you, DC. Oh, so you have Primer on that one. Cool. Thank you, DC. I was wondering who Commander Kitty was. Not that I know everyone in the universe.
Yes, I do.
Just my universe. Anyway. Yes, let's talk about some D&D. So, Narakto, what is your current impression on the situation in general of the party members?
I feel like Jean needs to have some ice skating lessons. First of all.
That's true.
I feel like Celeste is a bit of a punching bag when it comes to the battles.
Hey, she's
Only if you can catch her. If she's actually in combat range.
I feel like in a bad situation, Ingwe will be the first to leave.
That is probably also very true. I've seen that happen a few times. Very fair.
If that door wasn't locked, a number of times when Ingray would have left.
Have to lock every single door around you.
But no, I think it's a cool group, and I'm happy to be part of it now. So.
That's cool. Glad to hear.
Hell yeah. Excited
Oh.
to have you.
Yeah. And we finished
We're
the hype
hanging
train
out
as
for-
well. So yeah.
We're hanging out for clues on
Hanging out
what
for clues.
Naruto's character is. So
Oh.
we can grill him all night, like trying to do the sneaky, like.
Well, I have trained him to resist torture. So
You've trained me well.
that will be for next week, I think. Yes. There we go. Music is a little less loud. Sorry, Wolf Sister. There we go. Now maybe we can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, should we dive into a recap of the first episode of the second range?
Yeah.
See if any of you wants to
Oh, I
volunteer
need
for
my
that one.
notes.
So
We
the
have a
first
recap
one.
from the last
Not that
recap.
it'll help.
What, sorry, sure?
I said, do we have a recap of the recap?
So in the recap, we talked about the first 10 episodes. Is that the
Okay,
recap?
recap.
I don't know
Yeah, that's
how
a
to
recap.
recap it more than
Yeah.
that.
I only have notes from the 13th episode, so I cannot volunteer for the
Right.
11th or the 12th.
So the 11th was the recap episode.
Oh, great.
And the
That's good.
12th was episode 12, Dancing in the Dark, when you had the ball.
Oh, and I was late for that. That's
You
why.
were a little late for that one, yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, didn't we separate the recap from the main line of sessions?
I think it's still called number 11.
Session 11 I've got here is Knock Knock.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I was going to say I've got like sessions 1 through 10, then recap, then sessions 11 through 19, then recap.
oh. I seem to have missed an episode on my list here.
Oi.
No.
It's right. You're not the details guy. Like you're like the overarching across everything. You don't need to worry about the details.
That's fair. But what do you guys have for number 11 then?
Oh, remember that cool magic item I got in episode 11? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everyone else, than Jacob.
The Ring of Wishes or whatever it was. Yeah.
I got something. You said it was like a button, and I pressed it, and an airstrike would happen, or something like that.
Like the
Well,
lamp.
I mean, even if you had those items, I would find a way to
Yeah.
twist it.
An airstrike, just someone flying from the sky slaps me in the face. This didn't work at all how I thought.
Oh, you can only cast it on yourself.
Yeah. Damn magic. Never using it again.
Yeah. There's going to be
I've
some
got-
conversations about magic later, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got notes. I don't know how well they make sense.
Okay.
They are in dot point form.
Right. Let's hear
Right,
it.
so on the 15th of the 11th, 2021, we had session 11 called Knock Knock.
That's all you know.
That's it.
That's complete.
Right.
Right, so
Fair.
I've got Town Crier, Eye in the Sky,
Mhm.
More Attacks, Creature Seacoast, Jewel Something After Robbery, Lachlan Jewel Thief, Fire in Valancourt, I wonder what that was about,
There you go. Yeah.
Pirates, Town Guard Graffit, Prince Bastian, Homeless and Disneya, Half Price Flowers at Josie's Bloom. I'm really glad that I wrote that one down.
Right. That was the most important one. Yeah.
The Flux is a magic store, King, Belladonna, Carl, Belladonna, Amethyst Light, Feywild Flower, Keep Human Away from the Ladders.
What?
That's what I wrote.
Human. Okay.
Lawrence, Hall of Justice, Prince Bastian, Isadora von Lichten, Eleanor Weiss, Jules L'Amour, Lady Katharina,
But that's from a
Pirate
different
Shrunk.
episode. That's
No,
from
it's
a.
not, because I've got Session 12 Dancing in the Dark underneath these lists.
Oh.
That we got introduced to.
Oh, you got
is
introduced to some of
That's
them
the
before
episode when
everything
we.
got.
Is that
fucked.
the episode when we argued? That's the episode when we argued about who was going to have who.
That is every
Yes.
episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And then we
Yeah,
like
every episode.
had this like 45-minute conversation about, and then organized it, and the end like John just was like,
Psych!
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Vasco, Wintersbane, and Augie, Nala, and Cillian. And that's it. That's the end of my notes.
Right.
Just
So
a bunch of names and random shit that the town cry said.
right, yes, it's literally a shopping list of town crier and then a list of individuals who are thing.
Yes.
Yes. So there was a few details in there. You found out that there was a serial killer in the city, which was the same. No, was it the same episode? No, it was not long. It was not long before, at least, that Sean ended up in one of the episodes, hiding in one of the alleys, realizing that there was a serial killer. You
Oh,
saw
that's right, the alley stallion or whatever it was.
the alley slasher.
Yeah.
There was a discount on Josie's blooms, which no one went to investigate, which is fair. There was a mysterious fire, and the perpetrator who started a fight was just simply labeled as old.
I remember that description.
Yeah.
Was this? I remember there being an episode I popped in to watch, and everything was on fire.
That was that
Was
one.
this that
Yeah,
episode?
Yep.
Yeah,
It wasn't this one.
No, it was
It was
prior
the
to
town
this.
crier
Okay.
basically announcing the news that this had happened in another town.
Yes.
Oh, right.
So currently,
like-
yeah.
That was like Adam had like, it was like the story was centered around, like we were building up to like an Adam centered story, and then he had like some real life thing to deal with, and then Ingwe was like, well, I have an idea. Come on, John, let's get up to some mischief.
And then stealing 200 gold bottle
Oh,
of
wow.
wine turned into
Which-
burning down half a village, having an open fist fight, and summoning a wolf in the middle of a city.
Not to skip some
That's
many
like
sessions.
literally
I
no
don't
one
even
living
think
there.
you can call it a city. It was just
Yeah.
like a
It was like a
jumble
they were
of like
building it
half-built
into a
houses.
village. Yeah, they were building a village. That was,
Built down the entire commerce district.
Yeah.
Like the bakery, the general store, like
yes, a lot of lives were destroyed that day.
I was
Yeah,
DM
yeah.
too, so I'm not implicated as well. Remember, because I was like hiding from you guys, because you.
yeah.
That's why. Sorry, that was. We've already recapped that episode.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, but it was related to the town crier announcing
Yeah,
this
yeah.
and other things as well. Some of them also might be more important. I'm sure that Narocto, having seen the episode with Tam alone, have other parts of the town crier's notifications that make sense. But for the rest of you, it's all good. Don't worry about it. It's all fine.
c'est la vie.
Terribly
Yes.
sorry to do this. I'm just going to run out for like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay, someone start a timer.
I think my brother's locked himself out the house by mistake.
Oh,
No
so
mistake.
yeah,
you have to stay.
yeah, exactly.
I can't hear you. I'm still streaming. Sorry.
Roll a d20. Does he pick the lock?
So what else happened in this knock knock episode? We spent a lot of time talking about who, like,
Well,
what
you
the
say my
job was
notes
going
aren't
to
good
be.
enough.
Yeah,
To
you're trying
recap
to-
What happened?
Yeah,
It was a lore dump episode, wasn't it?
it was not so much a lore dump episode. It was more like you guys trying to work out who was gonna go with who.
Yeah.
And-
that's right.
You listening to some of the news or some of the things that you had experienced reaching the capital. You experiencing the capital for the first time. I believe you also visited Sean's sister for the first time, and Sean's mom.
Mhm.
You found all those cool animals, Ingwe. Remember you were leading us through the city?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
I saw those two. And then you were introduced to leading up to picking up your vestiges, your guests, and then arriving at the destination of the ball.
That's right.
And that leads us into the next episode, which is then the ball, where you met a lot of these individuals, which had been described before. There was Isadora von Lichten and Anya that you had met before. The wonderful, essentially sharp-tooth ranger, who you had fought with before on the same side. You were also introduced to Cillian, who was this tiger man who seemed to have sent a tabaxi noble lady to dance with Tam,
Lady Nala, right?
Lady Nala.
Yeah.
There was also a very drunk pirate lady, who definitely was a little out of place. And each of you had your own personal individuals that you were supposed to protect. Sean ended up with Valentina, which turned into a very interesting experience for Sean, I'm sure. And Ingwe ended up with Oren, and Celeste had Lorian, and Tam had Klaus. And none of them turned out the way that people had hoped for.
Whatever do you mean?
Very true.
Yeah.
So that's
So
a lot
that
of
like anything ever turns out the way we hope for.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
What are you talking about? Ingwe successfully robbed Oren.
Perfect
True.
protection.
Very true. But yes, eventually you ended up at the ball, and then things started going a little wrong. So who has some good notes for that session?
Let me switch over and have a look.
What was the name of episode 12?
Dancing in the Dark.
dancing in the dark. That one.
Okay, so I have got, because it involved a lot of the same people from last time, a lot of my notes is just the listing of the people again here.
Right.
But then I've got black cloaked individuals made their way upstairs, were spotted, seemingly up to some sort of mischief. So they caused some concern of some sort, at least.
Yes.
We informed Anya and Isadora,
Yes.
who decided to go up to investigate as well, which I believe Baal went up as well at that instance, trying to figure out what the hell's going on type thing.
Yes.
Suddenly, green flashes were seen under the door, spotted by Sonos, I believe. And I believe it was myself who was sort of making their way through, having a sneak through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you saw something under that balcony that no one else saw.
Yes. Something drew me up initially, which was a ghostly visage of my wife.
Yes.
Yep.
Every time.
Pointing.
So, yeah, definitely abandoned post. Went upstairs. Inside as well, I've got here listed, there was a lady in white behind the tall man with a scary voice in the doorway. To find out afterwards that as they revealed themselves from the shadow, the scary man was skeletal and hell's death, and then things went to hell.
Yes.
And yeah, and the lady in white basically is ghostly, and that was the wife. But yeah, she emerged from Jean as well, middle of combat. As everyone came up, Ingwe turned into a spider, started webbing folks. Celeste came on in, and then the doors got closed behind us. And big old battle ensued. From memory, I think this was one of those where it was a big fight, so it actually took up most of the session.
Yes. It was a pretty big battle, this one, because there were so many enemies, and you were stuck in 4 different rooms.
Yep. We killed a series of the goons, some of which appeared undead, or at least a visage of death upon them. One of which called out, "Hail the Black Legion."
Yes.
The ghostly visage of Cerithia called out, what was it? Ghost screams and vanishes when undead guy hits wrist together and disappears. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's right. Death clashed his wrists together and got up out of there.
Yes.
And we found a mysterious-looking dagger on the
Yes.
counter that was wrapped in cloth with
Yes.
the symbol of Claro on it.
Claro.
And yeah, it was sort of like had a purplish color to it with a green orb, or 2 green orbs as we later investigated, I believe. A small skull carved in from granite, and there was a swirling element to it. And Jean pocketed it before the guards all came up and that sort of thing, which Tam ran out to call at the time. And actually, I've got here, I think it was... who was it? It was Logan, Riker, Cam of Velendor, and Sasha DeFinn, I believe, who were being honored that evening.
Yes.
And
You're
so
the
they
3
all
who
got
are
called
getting knighted.
Yeah. And then we basically wrapped up the evening, got out of there one by one, found Dingway, so to speak. We were pretty much on our way out, I believe, because I think the next session started as we were leaving or something like that, or like the night once we got downstairs and were getting ready to leave. And Valentina handed us a gold card with a similar maze-like image on it that was represented like on our tattoos, with the sort of house crest on it or something to that extent. Yeah.
Wow. Good notes.
Woo.
You also got a
Really,
job
really
interview
good.
from Isadora saying that if you needed to look for a job or something like that, then she would be interested. And you got a whole bunch of really cool looking clothes. We got that in the previous episode, which was part of the episode before this.
Yeah.
Of all of you getting your really cool outfits.
We were fancy folk.
Yes. And another...
We've still got those outfits, eh? We didn't have to give them back.
No, you kept them. And that was also hinted at who the tailor finally was, Madame Madrinas,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
which we'll get back to later.
And did that knife? Did you ever show the knife to Celeste to identify?
Yes, yeah. I think that was.
It
like
was
a session or
identified,
two
yeah.
Later.
Yes.
Yeah.
You still have it, but you
Yeah.
haven't done anything other than that with it.
I believe I called Celeste over to look at it, and at that moment the guard sort of walked in, and then I sort of just went, "Oh, never mind," just wrapped it immediately and was like, "I'll show you later."
Yeah.
So yeah, I tucked it away for like a session or two.
Yeah. But it was definitely identified at some point.
Yes, yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. There was also a bard that got in trouble, which wasn't Celeste, but Lorian.
Mhm.
Ended up getting caught with his pants down, literally.
Oh, that's right.
and getting escorted to the jailhouse for further processing.
Celeste
Which
was
was,
like, all right,
yeah.
I told you to stay put and you didn't, so on ya.
Yes.
Have fun.
Indeed. So that was the last part of that episode, I think.
Believe so.
Ingwe went in and stole a whole bunch of napkin holders, and Lorian got arrested, and yeah, I think that was the end of that episode, as far as I can see from my notes.
Yeah, I've got those as sort of recaps for the beginning of the next session, so I assume so.
I feel like Ingwe going and stealing napkins is such an Ingwe thing to do.
There's a lot of stuff that got stolen there. Most of it wasn't super valuable, but
That was a phase, though. Like, to catch you up, Naruto, like, this was the stealing stuff phase, and now I'm over it. Because I think in the previous episode, I stole, like, from John's family.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then John was like, hey, we need money, but, like, no.
Yeah. Why are you doing this? Money mainly. Oh, okay. I can help with that.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any more additional notes for that episode? Or any thoughts that you want to share now that we're talking about this specific one anyway?
Was there threads that we didn't follow up from that? Like, from the... Because I missed the first half of this episode and then just basically came into the battle. Was it just a Celeste thing? Like, was Celeste just really anti... Who was your dude? Lorian? Like, was he an actual dick? Or was it, like, just...
He was a bit of a jerk, yeah.
He was very like, oh, hi ladies.
Yeah.
And she was like, stop doing that, just stand with me. And she was like trying to be like ward off women by being like, you're with me tonight and whatever. And then she got called into battle and then left him for 5 minutes or however long it was, and then he was gone and she was like, you can't keep a good man down, apparently, so...
As far as I remember, it started even in the cart when you met each other. He was literally just said 3 words to you, and then there was silence for the rest of the time.
And then Ingwe went to see if we could bust him out of jail, right?
That's in the next episode.
That's the next episode.
That's where everything goes nuts. And Sean almost gets himself TPK'd.
That's where in the alley. I think that one.
That's when you went into the alley, and then things got really uncomfortable really quickly.
Oh, and I've actually got the notes. I must have got it from the recap of all those things.
Well,
yeah.
Well, we can jump to the next one. So the next one is number 13.
Can I do number 13? Because it's the only one I have good notes for.
Good, go for it. So number 13, New World Order.
This is the episode where I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a note taker, and then
right.
like looking at my.
That was also a phase.
That's also an important. There's an important episode as well for the general storyline as well. So
yeah. Okay.
Right. Go for it.
So in this, in the way that I thought that I was gonna do notes is I have a narrative section, and then I have a different box for relationships, and then a different box for resources, and a different box for symbols. So that's how I've laid out my notes.
Nice. That's probably a good
Very
idea.
organized.
Yeah.
Do you have anything in any of them?
Yeah, it's very detailed. And I've also got 2 different pages for this one episode too.
Wow.
But I won't read out the relationships because they're all the same as the last episode, and I've rewritten them because I didn't have anything for 12, and it's literally like Ingwe napkin box, 100 gold, Orm's boots, lever dagger, 2 souls, has a lever.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to write these things in my thing. Yeah, the orbs, swirling orb. Anyway, who was Jules, the presenter?
Jules was the map maker, the one who got this guy's self on him. And you met him twice now.
Yeah. And because I bought maps off of May.
No, he gave you maps. He didn't sell you.
Yeah.
He gave it to you as thank you for saving the village. I think it was.
So here is my narrative section. It says Celeste got her things back. Ingwe robs Orem and takes him back to the inn. Lorian is arrested for sleeping with a chick. Ingwe follows Lorian to scout. Right, people because I went in as an animal. Oh,
Yes.
that was tense.
Yeah,
Okay.
that almost went wrong. That almost went really, really wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Right. People talking. Left. Ingwe wiggles. Left. Hallway opening out. Inwards. Courtyard out. Right. Outside. Are you following this? You should write it down on the track. You can draw a map.
Making a map.
At home. Yeah.
Straight door, large room, pillars, pedestals, ceremonial. Left, down, no doors, storage. Ingwe fails and goes home. Celeste hears weird shit at the church of the Nameless One. Whip, whip.
Yes.
Jean
But
and
you didn't
Celeste-
hear that one. That was only Celeste. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because this would have happened while Ingwe was going left and right and searching.
Yes.
Yeah. Jean and Celeste play with the soul dagger. Jean picks it up.
Yeah,
Ingwe
that's right.
reveals. What happened when Jean picked it up? Did he get
Nothing happened.
nothing happened?
But there was a lot of fear about something might happen when you did.
Because
but
you
nothing did.
identified it and it had two souls. Oh, that's right. Had two souls. Yeah.
Had two souls.
Yeah. Okay. And we've still got that dagger.
Yes.
And we haven't done anything with it since?
Nope.
Man, all the stuff that... Oh. Anyway, Ingwe reveals he stole lots of shit. Oh yeah, this is what I was saying before, Naruto. The phase is over. I showed all the stuff that I stole. And John gave me a lecture. John tells his story. His story.
That's true.
My home was attacked by undead. I've had visions at night. I wanted to trick you all. My wife, my son, myself and my wife, we ran and she started becoming one of them. We awoke to another man doing what I couldn't. Finished them off. She kept telling me to save her and pointed right at the thing. Cerithia was her name. Oh, my next page is even more zoomed. I need a zoom now.
It's like Google Earth of
got
notes. That's good.
I
What
think,
other-
have I missed anything from the? This is so then this is the break. Did I miss anything before the break?
I don't think so.
I don't have when the break was.
Most of what happened before the break was just chit-chatting back and forth and you trying to go into the thing,
Oh
I
yeah.
think.
So the next thing is Celeste goes to the market and enchants a hand axe to give to John.
That is true.
They speak to Baal. He doesn't care. What did he not care about?
He didn't care about the Lorien getting busted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're
Like,
in the,
whatever.
we gotta save Laurie. And he's like, nah, don't do that. And that's why we did it. Yeah. Bastian was watching the thing. What's the thing?
The execution.
Yeah.
You're the one taking notes, man. You tell us.
Sebastian is the prince who was watching the execution because he was commanding them to literally execute him because he messed with his daughter.
They try. Oh, that's right. Okay, so John tries to save Bastian, and works. Now he is a minor heir.
Yeah.
Big chat about values.
Minor heir?
Well, so yeah, because Sean cut him loose, you guys changed into guards as he got dragged in, and then basically between the three of us, mostly you two, managed to talk them out of keeping Lorien alive and letting me go, so to speak. And the agreement that they came to was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm going to force him to marry my daughter instead. So now,
Yes.
Lorien was basically technically marrying into nobility, I guess. In that
Yes.
sense, if they weren't already, but yeah.
Oh, he was not. He
yeah.
wasn't at all. But he was from a rich family, though. But
Yeah. A note I put in full caps here is also now, Prince has seen Jean's face now. Be wary for future.
yes, true.
Oh yeah, which will matter because of the fire thing. Oh.
Probably.
Maybe, but the princess knew before too. He was also at the ball.
Let's just
Yeah.
never go back
Yeah.
to the kingdom, y'all. Let's just stay where we are.
Stay in
We're
Macroland
fugitives
forever.
now.
Bye. I have to rewrite a few things, but yeah,
These
sure.
orcs aren't so bad.
I wrote big chat about values, but I didn't write down any of the things that we value. So anyway,
I think it was the whole money versus
yeah.
honor
Yeah.
kind of thing that you were going for there.
Oh, and the job, like we committed to doing a job. That's why
Yes.
we've got to finish the job. Actually, what's more? Yeah. Anyway,
Hmm.
so then we went to go to the Karamashi Estate.
Yes.
Our tattoos are there. The eye is there. Lots of artificer shit. Ingwe identifies everything as magical. The artwork is all the visions we've seen before. Pedestal is like the vision. There's 4 pedestals. There's a man and a little boy, a woman with eyes glowing red, a furbolg sitting in a tree. Last one is blank. That's important, Narocto, because I reckon you're going to have that vision.
Well, it
Plan
depends
with a
on
hand,
wisdom
yeah,
saving throws, apparently.
Plan for saving?
Yeah.
It was a sign.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
Tam's never had a vision.
No, he didn't.
Lots of constructions, machine tools, painting of the animals leaving away from the eye and the side SY place? That's a typo for sure. The eye in the sky. Oh, yeah, sure. Links to the keystone. What is the keystone? Question mark.
Yes.
And then a long time ago, Lolth had a falling out with the gods. She went to Earth to learn about the Acero. She didn't tell him, and she fell in love with the man. Was pregnant. Wow, I really should have done the Chirok thing and gone back and edited. The other gods banished her without powers. Azrael was also angry. Creatures that fell off the first world became spirits. The second world was created. The first half rejected the 9 hells. Lolth wanted to get help, beat the powerful. When he returned, he didn't look the same. Book of Shadows. Lolth got the book and kept it a secret. Lolth or...
Loth.
Nah, that's... Lolth got the book, or was that me mistyping the name of her boyfriend?
Loth is the drow.
In my
goddess.
notes, it's Lrejj.
Oh.
So I'm guessing who it would be.
No, that's
Is it Loth?
Azrael was the...
Who got the book?
Well, she got the book.
Yeah, so Lolth got the book, yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
And kept it a secret. Put it in a secret labyrinth. The same as on our arms. We have to destroy the book.
She was the one who put it there.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, yes, she was the one who put it there, but the entrance to how to find it is someone else.
And
There's a
Azrael
poem.
was
Yeah.
now known as Asmodeus.
Asmodeus, that's right.
Yes.
He had a name change.
That is his origin story, how he became Asmodeus in my world,
Yep.
by getting fucked up by love.
And then it's the clue, right? And then you guys saw, because I missed the next episode, a lot of the next episode. Within the egg, a nation lies. Follow the river of time to where the sign is blocked. Only in battle song. Something. Do you have that? Chirok?
Yeah. Only in battle can such be won. A gate in stone, a road in wood.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And we checked out the map and we figured it out. Well, not just yet. We had an idea looking at their map.
Yes.
But then went back and further investigated that idea.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the theory spinning of that, I think, took place over several sessions. I don't think it was just one session.
Yes, yeah. And
But it started then, at least.
we were also given the 3 steps in sorting the shit out, which was first find the labyrinth, second find the keys, which were a total of 5 pieces, and last find a magical weapon powerful enough to destroy it. Book. And yeah. Oh man, that was a big lore episode.
It was a big lore episode.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was. Just you got a little bit more information. The whole Loth coming to Earth, falling in love with a human man, and turning into Asmodeus, and she literally setting the whole world on fire because she lost her powers because other gods were douches.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's That's not commonly known.
Yeah.
But it is known from this family because they were so old.
Yeah.
So that was definitely yeah.
And
So if
then-
you go to a church and say this shit, they will be like, heretic, you're going to die.
Yeah.
That is blasphemy.
Because so it's kind of presented Lolth as not as terrible as the rest of the world would think she is. Is that?
Oh, well, I mean, no, she's pretty terrible.
Yes.
So she went to Earth to just learn about humans and other races. And then she happened to fall in love because even
With thy enemy.
bad people can fall in love. And then after that, she lost all her powers and she realized that she couldn't do anything anymore to get them back. So she made some dark deals. But instead of her going into these dark caves to gather this information, she sent her boyfriend in, who then came back looking like a demon and very changed. And when she realized he wasn't the same, she betrayed him. And then she became a god again.
Yep.
And
And then-
like the reason that is so controversial is because it depicts a relationship more than worshipper and god between human and god, like between man and god.
Yes.
So that's why it's so like, no, gods are here and
Yes.
mortals are here, but
Okay.
that story has been twisted so that way that relationship never existed.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but also because it depicts a mortal becoming a god, right?
Yes.
One of those things where it's also like, whoa, we don't need people knowing that. Hang on.
Yes. And a little caveat to this that I don't think was mentioned in this because it wasn't part of this and probably won't be part of this is that Loth actually was pregnant. And the reason people found out that she was having a love affair with this human was that she was pregnant and had a child, which then became
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus' bastard son, known as the Flayer, which you know from a different
Oh,
campaign.
that's right, the flavor.
But that's not necessarily related to this. That's not known at all either. That's also really obscure knowledge that no one would really know much about because that's not something people, especially churches, would love you to know. Like, hey, you can just have sex with a god and then you'll have an amazing half-god offspring or something. Or you can become a god
Like
if you...
Jesus.
Yeah,
And
like,
that's why we want to destroy the book, because the book will let people turn into bad gods.
it could let anyone turn into a god.
Yep.
What a
Anyway,
lovely
the Chaos
Valentine's
God.
Day episode.
And how much of that would be overlapping with the stories of Ingwe's tribe? Like, would Ingwe know? Like, he's not a god person, but he's a story of the world person.
We had the
Would-
conversation about this part already, actually. You don't know much about this because this is religion-based and yours
Yes.
is... You know of religions, but
Yeah.
your society has just decided to be like, nah, we know something different. We know something else that's real, that's better. So
Yeah.
they haven't taught much about that of the outside world. Also, considering going out into the world and gathering all these stories and bringing them back, they tend to be focused on actions more than
Yeah.
theories and like religious things. That's a lot of talking, not a lot of acting sometimes. So
But Asmodeus breaking the world would have been a key.
you would know that part. As soon as Asmodeus lost his shit, he set the rest of the world on fire until they literally fucked him up. Because he continued what Loth started after she betrayed him.
She went back to be a god.
And the only reason he ended up stopping was because she betrayed him again, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
pretty
at
much.
the end of it all, correct me if I'm wrong, once the story was all done and everything, we also saw a little something in the corner that went from invisible to visible, a little green imp that then
Yes.
shot off into the sky.
Correct.
the
Someone has been listening to the
So-
whole conversation and said,
Yep.
interesting.
next chain.
Yes, but you ended up meeting this individual not long after.
Well,
Hey,
talking about the importance of notes, you guys know how at the moment we are chasing a thief that we believe is a leprechaun,
Mm-hmm.
and Celeste has been cut off from her homeland and pretty much all forms of communication by someone. Well, I've just found written in my notes from that episode, Vartex is a leprechaun. From my notes from
There
the
you go.
next episode.
There you go, because
Which
that
is
was
the guy
from
that-
Tam's intro episode.
Tam's intro episode. Yeah, and then Sonos came and was being like, yeah, here's the guy that closed your connection to the Fey realm.
There you go.
Like
I
the
wonder
beginning
who
of the
you're
next
searching for
episode.
now. Finally got it. All the notes was already there. I just didn't want to mention it.
The importance of, having a quick squiz back
There
through
you go.
your notes.
Massive
Just going through.
lore check there. Yeah, you're
Next
right.
episode, I'm gonna have Celeste be like, you guys,
Yeah,
I just
so
had a thought.
just by reading that little part of your notes, you now connected Vartex to a whole bunch of shit. Also, who
Who's
was it
that?
really who sent these garden gnomes to Tam? Was that his goddess, or was that maybe Vartex?
Yeah, because Vartex was like the secretary
Yes.
to her, right? Like the executive assistant to his patron.
Yes.
But then
Correct.
he's gone on the run.
He seemed to have been disavowed.
Yeah, he's like on the run now, and now we're like, oh, we're chasing a leprechaun.
And the whole incident with the people bleeding because they can't remember what happened was also done by a short man with a little bowler hat
Yeah.
and pointy ears, which you connected to the individual that you are chasing now. So, yeah, you've been chasing
Dizzy, you're
Vartex the
so
whole time.
right. Dizzy just said, like, I love how much you can work out from going over your old notes.
Sometimes,
Really
yes.
do that more often.
There's
actually read
a
them.
lot more in these notes that they haven't picked up yet, but maybe.
We're gonna catch you, Narocto, next episode.
Oh,
Torture you
Recap,
as
I'll
the,
have like
as
the,
the leprechaun.
that would be
You're the leprechaun, aren't you?
that would be such a funny character to play.
A level
Absolute
like
leprechaun.
5.
Well, I mean,
I'm
Yeah.
level 18. What are you doing?
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a
Well,
hard
level
episode next time.
5?
Not after we torture you. After we torture you and take away all your powers.
But no, they're right. You're correct. If that was what kept you sleepless nights.
No,
No?
that wasn't. I literally just
Okay.
discovered that when we were going through our notes just now. I have Vartex in brackets is leprechaun.
Right.
Like that. By level 5, Dizzy.
You're correct. Vartex is a leprechaun.
And
You
he's
haven't
most likely the
met
one that we're
him,
chasing.
any of you, unfortunately.
Nope.
How
Tam was
many
the only one.
leprechauns can there be running around?
True, but I don't think Tam ever mentioned to you though. But however,
But Vartex did. I mean, not Vartex, Sonos did.
yes. But you never got the name.
No, he did. He told
Oh,
me the
did
name.
he?
He said there's a guy
Oh.
named Vartex.
There you go. So, yeah, you have all the dots connected for this individual. Seems to have crossed your path more than once.
Exciting.
So if that means he's more powerful than you thought or less powerful than you thought, that's a good question.
He is exactly as powerful as I thought.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You
Just
already
got ties to
Yeah.
like an ancient like sun demon
Yeah.
She's not a demon.
corporate conglomerate CEO.
So-
What's the difference?
So that's another actually interesting twist, which is so the gods had a fit because Loth had a child, but some of the gods don't care. Like anyone related to the golden patrons, which are Greek based, they don't give a shit. They'll have sex with anyone. They'll have children with
Zeus
everyone.
who?
Whatever, like
Yeah.
the same thing. Same with the more Viking inspired ones. They wouldn't give two shits either. It's not something that's normal, but they don't really care about that. If they could, they would do it themselves. So there's some interesting parts there too. It depends on religion as well.
Yeah.
See if I have any of different notes here. No, I think that was pretty much.
My notes were just so comprehensive that we don't need to add anything.
No, they were really good, Jay. They were
Yeah.
really
Drew a
good.
map of the world in my brain with all the lefts and the rights and the straight.
So I just want to go through my notes for the new world, the next episode.
Yep.
My notes have, these will be familiar from when I previously said. This is what my notes say: narrative, relationships, resources, symbols. There is actually a note within the egg.
Thank you for the follow,
Notes.
Bloofies.
It's
Watch
not a
out,
fortune cookie, it's a fortune egg.
I'm so sorry, Dizzy. I've just realised I've misspelled Sharok's name on the overlay. Kaharok.
Oh. We'll do it differently every time. I didn't double check that.
Sorry, Sharok.
Oh, okay. It's totally fine. Things happen.
Oh well.
Hey,
Well, we have to make a new one
Bloofies.
anyway. Yes. Thank you for
Yeah,
dropping
we're
in,
gonna have to
Bloofies.
do a new one when we get Narokto's character name and everything anyway.
Yes. Once we have the last character all sorted and revealed, there will be some changes happening to overlays and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I feel so bad.
That's okay. We'll spell your name wrong too. It looks like your name is C. Celeste.
Ratwa jail. Ratwa jail.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. So, episode 14, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy of Darkness. That was the episode where you went to visit Logan, for instance, and had some conversations about certain things.
I was gonna say, from memory, I think this was a Tam-heavy episode. In that there was like him, a lot of it was him talking with Logan and sorting things out. And unfortunately, I don't write a lot of notes when there's like things where I'm like, oh, Jean wouldn't know this because I don't want to mix up Jean's knowledge with others. So yeah, I also don't have a huge amount for this one.
It was a lot of talking.
Yeah, I do have that when they went to the barracks to talk with Logan, Jean had overheard while sitting in the alley a shipment of tea and Barosek, a missing girl, Annabelle Morissetti,
yes,
and murder had been revealed. Jonathan Guthrie killed and linked to the Alleyman slasher.
Yes.
As I stood in the alley.
Yes.
Awkwardly.
Yes. And you actually went to investigate this girl a little bit as well, I believe. And you didn't really find much other than that she had been pretty much killed and robbed, it seemed.
Yeah.
In a one of the poorer places. Yeah. Other than that, there
We
wasn't a lot
learned
of...
that, yeah, so something like that had seemingly been happening all around the kingdom, I believe, but it was like happening only once per city.
So the Alleyman slasher was linked to a lot of murders, but they weren't in the same spot ever. So
Yes,
always
that's
different
it.
places.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and
Like
you went...
eventually Alleyman slasher.
Well, he'll be introduced next time. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing?
No.
Yeah, good. Come meet me in this alley real quick.
That's how we meet
okay.
Naracto's character. We just get mugged.
You want to buy some watches?
Who did you kill in that alley? No, I killed the Alleyman slasher. Makes sense. All right.
That's
yeah, I
how you
trust
become
The
the
Alleyman
Alleyman
slasher.
slasher.
Yeah.
I just remove my name tag that says slasher. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him there.
There. And you went to have a chat with Logan about Mount Valor. And you
And
found
he
out
hit on
that
Celeste.
he hit on
With his little
Celeste
perky pecs.
with both his pecs in both different directions, and he seemed to be shaking slightly. He seemed to have some sort of thing going on. Tam knowing a bit more about it, but didn't mention it. And I think most of the conversation in that entire episode was basically, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And it was just a little bit of back and forth. And I think, as far as I remember, it ended... Yes. So it ended with you getting a wake-up call from Valentina saying, we need to go.
Yeah.
Because the eye in the sky had changed color to red. What does that mean?
Yeah, because we were going in by teleportation. We took note of a few locations that had ruins on the map to apparently imply a teleportation circle or something like that.
Yes, there was 4 places that you could see in the kingdom that had potential teleportation circles.
Yeah. And that at the beginning of the session, before we'd left Karameshi's place, Jean took a sneak look, which this feels like a note I should probably have kept more at the front of my mind. Sean took a little quick look at the strategy table
Yes.
that they had set up and looked at him like battle plans for destroying all noble houses in the kingdom to condense power into one. Which I believe he passed on, but it's like, we have more pressing matters. We'll come back to this.
We've got to read our notes, and I feel like we've got a whole 3 more episodes to just like all these threads that we're just like.
Yeah.
Well-
Yeah, she gone. Whatever.
Red
Everything's
flag.
fine.
Well, I mean, some motions are usually set in motion
Yep.
in case something happens.
Mhm.
Which makes the meeting the noble in the ice more important.
The noble in the ice.
Yeah, like in the last episode, we met a noble that was like hunting something in the ice.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
there's a
that
few of them.
meeting of the noble isn't just like some random noble that is meaningless,
Yeah.
and us even saying some random name that was meaningless. Did we? When you say the name, did you say a name that you were just making up, a random name, or did you say a name that meant something?
Where for my character's name when introducing, or
Actually, we'll wait until we get there. I'll just note that as a question.
I don't think
Okay.
you introduced
I'm
yourself
skipping
to
way
the
ahead.
other people. Yeah, you introduced yourself to the other people, but you didn't do it to the actual people. As far as I
Yeah.
remember.
But I
Um,
just remember being like, in hindsight, I wish we'd said Valentina Karamashi, because, she was a real powerful person, and we know that she was dead, but no one else knows that she's dead. So it would be a real cool thing.
I should just disguise self and walk around as Valentina. Hey, what's
Yes,
up?
you should.
then you-
Side note, side
Give
note.
us ideas.
Scribbles furiously.
well,
Because we have her stuff too.
you have some of the stuff at least, yeah. So you eventually went through the teleportation circle, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't read this note down. As far as I remember, you did manage to find the entry to this cave as part of this episode. And at the very end of the episode, you were ambushed inside the cave before the start of the next session. And then the combat commenced.
I've got. Would this be for session 14 or 15?
So 14 would be ending with you getting ambushed.
No, I think
I've got that at the
15 is-
beginning of 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was just beginning of 15. Cool. Normally I leave it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so eventually you ended up finding the place. And eventually finding the way to the cave, at least.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much that episode. There was a lot of talking. There was a few notes in there, like you saw the battle map and all that kind of stuff. But most of it was just you guys talking to each other and talking to a few NPCs here and there. And then episode 15,
Yep.
End of the Line, which refers to
Oh yeah.
Valentina,
Tam. Oh,
not Tam,
and Valentina.
because she was the last in her line.
Yep.
I can't think of End of the Line without thinking about trains.
What?
Yeah, this is the end of the line. That's what you say when
Fair.
you're at the last stop on a train station.
Fair.
End of the line.
Yeah, because we went to the library at the start of this episode, right?
I had
You
it.
tried to. Yeah, that
This
was
is
a little
15.
point there where you. So 15 is where you go into the cave at the
Yeah,
beginning.
we cliffhangered.
So-
We cliffhangered at the break. That cliffhanger that you're thinking about, where it's like we got ambushed, happened at the start of the break. You're like, and then you get
Right.
ambushed, and then we went to break.
So one of the things that we have missed so far is that Ingwe went to the library with Celeste, and Celeste found some interesting books
Yeah.
on codes and stuff. But Ingwe found some books that his mum had wrote.
Oh yeah, the
Yes.
Vinny. That's what's been keeping me up at night.
That's interesting.
I've got pretty good notes on this one.
Yeah.
Ingwe and Celeste go to the Stonewall Academy. Information on the ruins at the base of Valhalla.
Mount Valor, not Valhalla.
Mount Valor, yeah.
Valhalla, there is only ruins.
I think it's auto-correcting is why my notes are really hard to read back, and I just because I'm typing and playing, like I'm not a very good touch typer, and I'm just typing, but concentrating on everyone's faces, so my notes are really hard to read. Celeste finds mention of the ruin, but no name. 6,000 years old, has writing on it.
Yes.
So that's all I got. Yeah. What else did you find in that, Celeste? Did you write anything else down?
Looking for information on the ruins at the base of Mount Valor. 6,000-year-old pre-God Gate.
Yep.
Those are my notes. So, to answer your question.
And then I've got Jean and Tam investigate Annabelle Morissetti. They meet two dumb guards and go to the garrison and talk to the King's Guard. She has been killed over the night. Looked like she'd been mugged. The Night Slasher tends not to kill the same place twice. Oh, because that was different cities too. It wasn't even in... Yeah. Remove the organs of the man. Looked like she was eaten by a dog.
Yeah, she looks like she was eaten by a dog, yeah.
One in Kronos, one in Six Shores and Kingshelm. Lady Sasha from the Golden Gauntlet is looking for them. While there, Jean asked to come back and talk about the fire incident. And there's a letter from the Magistrate's Court. He got a letter from the Magistrate's Court.
This is letter.
And then it skips back to... And then we went back to me and Celeste. And Ingwe finds stories by Vinny, which is Ingwe's mother. And then he buys all those books.
No, he borrows them.
I don't think he bought any.
Borrows them.
Borrows the books from the library.
I thought you were done stealing anyway.
No, I left them. I left them for Jean's sister to return, except for the Vinny books.
Yes.
I've also written in the symbols: blue uniforms for King's Guard and Golden Gauntlet is white.
Yes, they have like a white and a green tunic.
And Eye in the Sky is now red.
Yes.
And then my notes for after the break is teleport goes well.
Teleport goes well. Yes. You didn't die from the teleportation.
That's my only note for after the break.
When there's no notes, you know that it's been so intense that they haven't had time to write.
I don't have any more notes for this session. Just go straight to session 16.
Well, this one I remember really well, so I don't think you necessarily need too many notes for that. So you eventually ended up in the cave. And then you got ambushed by these snake people that were the same snake people that seemed to have escaped from the Snake and Ladders episode that had killed the horse.
Give her name. Her name was Luna, Tom.
Luna?
She had a name.
Right, the Lunar Slayers ambushed you with some weird creature that seemed to be made of a mixture between bone and wooden parts? Question mark. And the little imp showed up again, and it seems like these individuals were working for the Purveyor, as you had previously heard about in the Snakes and Ladders episode. Whoever this Purveyor is, that is a good question. But the Purveyor also obviously works with latex. She was cleaning up in the Snakes and Ladders episode. You ended up having a fight where a lot of things happened. A lot of interesting notes. Ingwe ran away. Tam went down several times. It was a tough fight. And Tam actually died. He was revived again, not long after. But you also noticed that this tattoo had shifted position to searching for someone else to attach itself to. And it attached itself to the creature that killed Tam. Tam was revived, and as soon as he was revived, this tattoo attempted to enter his body once again, but was blocked by his necklace that he had been given by Aethia. And this necklace melted in response to protecting him, And as a side note, the tattoo disappeared into the hallway, flew past anyway, and somewhere else into the world to find
Slapped it
another individual.
Where did it go? Who did it land on?
Yes.
What do they look like?
Exactly. And in this fight, Tam was obviously revived. The big baddie was killed by Valentina, who ended up sacrificing herself to killing this creature, attacking and throwing it into molten lava with a stick of dynamite in her hand. And that was the end of the line for the Valentina Karamashi family. The rest of the fight.
So typical, like a 6,000-year-old family line, and then they hang out with us for like 2 days, and it's fucking over.
Yeah, that's true.
She'd
We're
said
the
all those
oldest
things about.
family.
She'd said those things about like deliberately doing that, like the line stops with me and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, she was very content at not continuing her bloodline, which is why she never married anyone. Yeah, and you ended up fighting the rest of the individuals, and at the very end, because this entire episode from the break forward was the fight, you ended up realizing that you had no way of opening this door now, because Tam no longer had the tattoo. And
Tam's fault.
Sonas also took a lethal hit and disappeared. Unknowing if he was going to come back or not, considering he wasn't really a familiar. But eventually, he did. Eventually he returned, as Tam went to stay with his father and his mom in his father's last hours, and helping with the farm, which is why he ended up having to leave the party, unfortunately. But Sonas still drops in from time to time because of Celeste's very unique connection with this individual. And
I think that was our last episode of the year, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was the very last episode of the year, which can mean that end of the line means more than just one thing. If you can say it like that.
I
Was the end
remember
of
that
Tam.
episode because I had family staying over that night, and they were looking after the kids so that I could have an early night. And then I went, "Oh, I'll just watch a couple hours. I'll watch an hour of this Monsters of Mayhem." And you were like 6-hour episode or something.
Yeah, it was a little longer
It was like
because
1 a.m.
everyone
when
kept
you
healing
finally
each other in the fight.
Sorry. No, the reason I can tell it was like our last episode is because all my notes you can't see are like in like pencil, and then when I it goes over to the new year, I found a pen. That's how I can tell.
There you go. That's how we measure time in Monsters and Mayhem.
Yeah.
What did you write it
Next
with?
year it will be a blue pen.
It'll be a crayon! A yellow crayon to make
I'll
it
go
worse.
digital.
By year 16, it's just tattoos.
Yeah, I just sit here with like a tattoo pen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, might as well just get a symbol of the tattoo then.
Hey, I'm tempted. I'd go there.
Well, we'll do some collection.
The
Do some
We
donations.
should do that for merch. Get like temporary tattoos. That'd
Temporary
be cool.
tattoos. That could be quite
Temporary
cool.
tattoos in like the
yes.
thing. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool. I'm sure we can do something like that.
I just had a really dark thought that I'll share off screen.
We'll save that one for later, I think. Yeah, so that was technically that episode where we had to say goodbye to Tam, unfortunately. And also goodbye to Valentina. But yes, that was an end of the episode that also led you with a lot of questions and no specific direction to go in specifically. So it was a little bit of a time jump, not long, before the next episode, episode 16, Stalemate.
I will say as well, it's not likely, but it does set a little bit of the ground, is that Jean was also gifted a ring of dark vision in that cave as well. So Jean now has 30 feet of dark vision.
Yeah.
Woo!
Do I have dark vision? I don't know.
Achievement unlocked.
I don't know. I think you do.
I don't know.
Are you
have to look it up.
are you of a type of creature that has dark vision? Oh, you're playing a homebrew
Hang on. All right,
creature.
we'll figure this out. Okay, so elf, dwarf, human, orc, half. No, just
Inside check. Does he make a face at any of the race names?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't made a character yet, to be honest. No, we
Yeah, I
haven't.
remember you saying that was a homebrew race, right?
No, I said that there was options of homebrew races. I didn't
Options
say
of
that he
homebrew
necessarily
races.
picked one.
Did you pick a homebrew race?
Oh, I've got it.
Did I?
I've got it.
We'll find
No,
out.
We'll see.
no. Narakto is not going to be playing a character. He's going to be DMing. And Tom is the one actually creating a character.
Yeah, I changed the contract before I sent it to him, and he didn't realize, and now he's just stuck.
How the
Tom has sent
turntables.
me like a manual this thick of his world that I have to
Well, just
go
burn
through
it.
before
There's-
next week.
It's
No
literally
point.
just the naughty and nice list from Santa Claus, just folded up.
Yeah.
And half the naughty list is Tam with this person, Tam
Yeah.
with this person.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we'll get to the discovery or whatever. Narakto's playing next time.
Do we have a date yet? So it's not next week. Week
A
after.
date? What do you mean?
Do we have a date?
Am I not on next week?
Yeah. Is Naruto joining us next week or a week after? Have we
Maybe.
decided that? Well, we're gonna know. Unless he just comes and
Surprise.
just sits in the stream just in case.
Oh, we'll see. Maybe not.
Okay. We're not even allowed to know. We'll find out when you know, guys.
Good. I
Yeah.
don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I do. I'm too nosy.
That's fine. Well, it could be any of the classes that exist in Dungeons & Dragons, or any of the races that exists in my world. There you go.
I just
said
made
it.
one up completely, and
Yeah.
was like, Tom, this
He's
is
like
really
a
cool.
he's like a cyborg elf monk,
Platypus spoke.
platypus monk. Sure.
That can fly
My name is Perry.
and
Perry
shoot
the Platypus.
lasers.
My mind went there too.
We need to rewrite your character now. Yeah, we spoiled it all. Yeah, but episode 16, Stalemate,
New year.
which
Was this
was
the one
All
where
I
you went-
have is a list of the stuff that was in Valentina's
Yeah,
bag.
yeah. The important things.
Did you catch that elevator up to that really tall?
that was
City
at
Mist?
the end of that episode. You arrived
I
at
believe,
Kronos
yeah.
at that end, yeah. But you were also having a fight with a interesting
moving house.
creature, a moving
Mhm.
house,
Cradle
and
Geist.
It's
And
not
you-
magical.
technically not. And you also met Nima.
Mm-hmm. This was
Who also knew Ingwe's
Ingwe's-
mum.
Yes, I knew that
This
she
is
had
what's been
been
keeping me awake.
abducted
Yep.
by the Pixie King, or at least individuals
Yes.
working for the Pixie King.
I bet it's a leprechaun.
Short guy gone with pointy ears.
It's a leprechaun. It's gotta be, right? This is what's been keeping
That-
me awake.
That wasn't mentioned in that sense.
Always the
That my note says short guy gone with pointy ears.
Yes.
That's what. What's her name? Oh,
Yes.
What?
So-
Nima said.
So one of them
Vinny
was.
Vinny was going to the Pixie King.
Hmm.
Is the Pixie King a short guy with 20 ears?
No, you don't know what the Pixie King is or who or she
I bet it's
is.
a leprechaun.
But one of the individuals picking up your mum had pointy ears at the time.
Yeah. Oh, one of the individuals that picked up my mum.
So one of the
She
people
was
went to collect.
kidnapped.
Yes,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
got
yeah,
kidnapped.
yeah.
To be
Okay.
fair, all gnomes are also short with pointy ears from memory, right?
Well, this is more like I feel like gnomes can have more roundish ears, but this is more like elf pointy ears.
Yeah, okay.
Like a
okay.
leprechaun. So it's a very
colored bright hair. Grab her and pull her with them. Oh, because she showed a vision, didn't she? It was I saw a
You
vision.
used detect thoughts, and then she envisioned.
Hmm.
That's what it was, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that was so cool. That was sick.
And because you saw that, technically you've seen how Vartex look, if that is Vartex.
He just said it's Vartex confirmed.
I didn't say that.
It's the leprechaun. Ah, it's all coming together, y'all.
That can be multiple leprechauns. They're usually just stuck on the other side of the veil.
I can only disguise
we're all
myself
fucking
1
stuck
foot
here.
shorter than myself, so I'll just be a giant leprechaun.
You just look like an elf.
6
You
foot tall
are
leprechaun.
But no, you got a little bit more information there. You got found out that something weird's definitely going on with Ingway's mum. Other than the fact that
Wait.
all the stories that he's been telling so far has been incorrect.
Wait. The elves with bright coloured hair, is it the same coloured hair as the red-haired elves that are now the special people in the elders' room that we've just seen?
Frost elves.
One more time, sorry?
Frost elves? Is the elves that I saw, were they the frost elves?
No.
The bright, large elves with bright coloured hair? Not the same. Okay, good.
No, it was colored hair.
Yes.
It was colored hair like green.
Yeah, like rainbows and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was more like Celeste than anything. Because she
But
has pretty bright
Celeste-
hair.
But Celeste was seen as a special person by the frost elves.
Because of her red hair.
Yes. So
These ones
the
didn't
large
have
elves with
red
red
hair.
hair.
They didn't
They
have
had
red hair. They had
Yeah,
like
cool.
other colored hair. Like greens and
Yeah.
blues and purples and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this episode also put Jean on anxious street the whole time. I've literally got a note here like Nima, and then in brackets, is she part of the giant house bug? Question mark. Probably not. But Jean
Yes.
don't trust shit.
Yes. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Everyone was a little on edge after
Love
the
that.
house.
Like,
Even
don't you
though-
come into my house? Say again.
They
No.
she offered you drinks and alcohol and cookies and weed and yeah.
Yep.
That was a cool old Benny. Yeah. And you eventually
Yeah.
connected the dots that Ingway's mom was related to whatever was going on with whoever this Pixie King is. And eventually you arrived at Kronos.
Oh, we
For,
also got that book.
Mm.
yes.
The book that
So
shows 4 people.
Yeah.
Need to open the door. Yeah.
yeah, so that book was the one that Valentina had left you. It was the Gideon's personal journal.
Yeah. And Celeste and Ingwe have been, like, Celeste has been, like, reading it to Ingwe.
Hmm.
And then being like, what if I read it like this and turns it upside down and then reads it back? And Ingwe's like, yes, that makes much more sense.
Yes, because it seemed to be. Oh, sorry. It seemed to be written by 4 different people almost. But you're starting to decipher the different
Just
aspects.
because you know all the answers to the story, Tom. Like, we're anxious and excited. We know you're bored talking about it. You probably. Yeah.
That is not true. That is not. No. Not at all.
I
It's exciting
tuned
for
in
me
when
too.
The elevator ride started on this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much now, I think, that the elevator ride would have
I just
begun.
remember Jean clutching for dear life, Ingwe buying a bunch of drinks.
Yep.
And
We
yeah,
need
that
to
was the rest
save
of it.
money. Orders everything.
And then we hopped off as well. We saw an airship like attaching itself to the city as we pulled up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we hopped off, and automatons were basically just like, "What's up? What's your name?" And then Jean made a big mistake, which he still doesn't fully understand, I think. But yeah. So I'm just like, yeah, Jean Ortonfall.
Celeste has an idea to make him understand.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
It was an interesting twist to the story, but just a small little thing. And there was a perception check that was failed by everyone at that specific point. So there is that.
There
Whatever
was
that
a lot going on. They were flashing billboards and noises. And
Absolutely.
people shoving stuff in our faces.
Mhm.
Definitely. You definitely went into the commercial central.
Times Square.
Yes, indeed. And you did see a little bit more of the city before. I believe you eventually met with Baal in that end of that episode.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, and he gave you a new job, which were to commence the next morning. Celeste had a point of exhaustion, I believe, so she went to bed
Yeah.
pretty early. The rest of you stayed behind and had a bit more to drink before going to bed. And I think that Sean had more visions of
Kind of.
his wife.
No, that was when or maybe afterward, but when he was downstairs, that was when he had a voice from the Stormlord.
You got a message from the Stormlord saying,
Yeah, the Stormlord.
"To who this may concern,
Make me proud.
Sean Ortonfall."
Mhm.
Yes, that was part of a very elaborate scheme that played out in the next episode.
Wait.
Does anyone have any more notes on episode 16?
I just have Alexander is alive because that's the first time
Yes.
Celeste
He came back
had
in.
contact with Sonos on the ride on the elevator.
Yes, correct. So he seemed like he had come back, and he might be a familiar, might not be a familiar. There is some strange connections that have really not been worked out in any scientific way. But for now, at least, it seems like he is stuck here in multiple different facets of the word. But he did also come and say that it looked like wherever he went after he died looked very different from what he remembered. So either he went somewhere else, or wherever is on the other side of that veil has changed dramatically. But who knows? And then
Celeste just total side note. Celeste knows exactly how long it's been since the connection's been severed. Hey,
yes, it was 80 years, I think it was.
yeah,
Something
it
like
was
that.
like from when she left, like literally like the day after she came to the material plane.
Pretty much, you were like,
She couldn't
"Oh,
get back.
we'll go to show you this," and then you go through, and then and you're like, "Oh, we can't go through now. What's going on?" And there you go.
Yeah, so she knows like the anniversary of the
Yes.
day.
So you've been gone for 80 years in real world time, but you also know how fast it goes on the other side. So there might be some calculations involved, but you've probably been gone for a long, long time.
It's like that scene in Interstellar, like when they
Yes.
no, is it Interstellar? Yeah, where they like go down to like the island and it's like 40 years have passed. Like, but it's only been 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gravity.
Yes. Potentially. Luckily, most of the creatures living in the Feywild don't have an expiration date similar to the ones on the other side of the veil, so it might not necessarily mean anything, but yeah. Anyway. And then lead us to my favorite episode so far, episode 17. Only a flesh
Oh,
wound.
my notes are interesting for this one.
17.
Yes, only a flesh wound. First
Everything else on
time,
the
and
fly.
probably last time I will ever use a Danish accent in English. Ever again. So, who have great notes for this one?
I wouldn't say mine are great, but they're notes. They're my usual dot point format, just random shit that happens.
Yeah.
Alright, so episode 17 was on the 17th of the 1st, 2022. It's like when you're in school and you have to write the date, it stuck with me. Alright, so I've got Moan's item Jane.
Moans?
I don't know what this says. Somian, greatest inventor of all.
Finian.
Finian, there we go. Dreamweaver, artifact, enter dreams and make them real. Voil, which is part of the artifact, which is the part of the artifact that we were transporting, like the actual part of the Dreamweaver.
Yeah, so that's the outside frame, the circular shape frame.
And then I said we have to go to number 15 Carburetor Avenue to find Jane.
Yes.
Very important location there.
Very
I've got that in my notes too.
Me too.
Sounds like
Ooh,
the
that's
scene from
good.
Wallaby Way, Sydney.
Carburetor.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, no, Finian was a very famous inventor. He was the greatest inventor. So the place that you stayed was called the greatest inventor.
Oh,
Or
that's
the
right.
best inventor, I believe. So that was his name after him. But yes, you're right. Carburetor Avenue.
Carburetor Avenue, number 15.
Yeah.
Just for future reference, because I think that we like own that house now. Well, Ingwe owns that house now, so.
I mean, technically, yes.
Yes.
Technically, you own property in Kronos now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and this is where it gets interesting with my notes. Wisdom save 8. Ancient red dragon and kobolds. Dragon King calls this city his own. And that's when we all fucking had those little tablets.
Yes. So that's technically after, because what you went with the item to Jane. Jane wanted to inspect the item, but you denied her access to actually the item, which was probably smart, but she would have fucked you up right there. But it ended up getting put into a lead box, so no one could track it.
Yep.
Might
which
not have
wasn't
been such a
smart.
great idea at the time, but you
Long
didn't
run.
know that. And she went with you after giving you some anti-nausea medication because of the spinning discs of Kronos. And you inspected them, and they didn't seem to be magical in nature, and they didn't seem to be poisonous. But there was definitely something else in there too. So that gave you disadvantage on your wisdom saving throws for the next 24 hours. And
Got half a dozen of those pills.
Yep.
Gonna use them later.
Crunch them up and snort them.
No, give them to someone. Disadvantage on wisdom saves. Yes.
We're about to have a vision, guys. Everyone pop a pill.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know we're having a vision? Well, if you take this pill, you will.
Yeah, it just turns into that so Raven, and it's all it's like. Yeah, so ancient red dragon, and kobolds, and then the Dragon King calls the city his own, and that's all I've got because then it was like battle, 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 running for our lives, blah 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 blah, and then I've got teleportation circle. Oh, fuck, I can't read my writing. Feywild writing?
it was in a glyphic script of a Feywild font, if you could say it like that.
Yeah, like the elven glyphs.
Yes.
Then I've got material plane transportation.
Mhm.
So it was like transportation on the material plane, even though the script was written in like
Correct.
English. And then I've got Vinja, guy who gave us 1,000 gold.
Yes, he was the money guy in Kronos who gave you all the money after the head scientist had given you this mission of tracking down Jane and stealing back the item.
Oh, I kind of wish I'd done the notes for the next session. Because I wrote down like every single item at the item shop and then crossed them
Oh,
out
me
when
too,
we didn't
don't
decide to buy. Okay, good.
And you picked all the weird ones that was like, +1.
Yeah. Plus 2 armor,
Like-
and I'm just like, oh.
The best thing you ever eaten
Armor?
for the rest of your life. Come on. No, okay. There was a few in there with remove curse and stuff, but yeah.
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 Useful, utilitarian? No, we're going for like just thematic, like
Macro
make an entrance or an exit. Like,
Yeah, that's what you mean. That's what you mean.
The amount of times I've tuned in to the streams halfway through the episode and just everything's on fire.
Yes, this was one of those episodes for sure.
This is one of
I'm
those
pretty sure
episodes.
in like the collage that I did for Ingwe, there's like fire in one of them. His like hand is like on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yep.
Fair.
That was my original image that I made on Hero Forge was the
Yep.
flaming hand.
Hmm. Yeah, so
Because
there
he's
was...
a wizard, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wizard.
Exactly.
Class
I
5.
was.
Classic wizard.
There was two
Caleb
things going
Whittaker's
on.
too.
There was two things going on in that fight, though. That I'm not sure if you remember, but you ended up fighting a wizard and some kobolds and some imps and a minotaur, and most of these were fake, but it seems like the kobolds weren't. Kobolds were real, but they were also getting attacked by these
No.
illusions as soon as Jane left. And they kept screaming a word which you still don't know to this day what it means. But eventually they were defeated. And you realized that there was something going on, and Jane was gone after Sean had best American football style, protected her, thrown her down the center line, ready to do touchdown, and then she needed.
Run, Jane, run! Save the thing we're protecting. I believe in you.
And the trust was broken that day,
Mm-hmm.
and Jane disappeared in what seems to be a teleportation.
I feel like the party is never going to trust anyone again. Like, Naruto's character is going to come in and we're going to be like, who are you?
Just to
Hey
be
guys,
safe,
I'm
just
going to travel
cross your head.
with you for the rest of this time. And
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
are like, no. You're going to leave us one day, we know.
So,
We've been hurt too many times before. We can't trust again.
well, maybe Celeste should write a song about it.
I've been tempted to write a song, but I can't do that. So
Well, that's fair.
I need someone who can like play an instrument for me while I do it.
Well, I can do that.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll write the lyrics. You and me will come up with a cool Celeste song.
Right.
Not that
Maybe
she's
I'm
a
playing
singer.
a bard as well, and then I can play the instrument.
Oh my god. Competition.
Don't need to be a bard. I think Jean could be proficient with an instrument from memory.
What is the
Oh, so
instrument?
Celeste
Sending
is
song?
proficient with an instrument. It's Laura who's not. Like,
No, fair.
I can play like piano. But,
Sean's
like,
good with
I'm
claims
not
and
bringing in
anything.
a fucking Steinway in here with me while I'm like,
With rhythm sticks. Fair, fair.
Ingwe can sing. And like,
Can
you don't have to be a bard. Yeah, you can take it. You don't have to be a bard to be musical.
Yeah.
That is true. You can literally have the gladiator entertainer background and be able to play a music instrument if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is a
well,
little odd.
Celeste can like sing and like play
High pitch.
instruments and stuff, but that's not her expertise. Like
Yeah.
that's not what she's known for. Like that's why when she goes to tavern, she's not like, I'll entertain for a free whatever. Like, because her expertise is like storytelling and like
Yes.
history and writing poetry and things like that. It's very different.
I want to do a bard one day that's a painter. And then when you inspire people, you just have little paintings that you show people. Look at this really cool sunset. You got this. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Or
You
vicious
just go up to
mockery
them
is
and
just like
paint
a.
a smile on their face. You're just like,
Alright, that's cool. But yeah, you ended up eventually going with Mana.
Mm-hmm.
You met a new friend, a little goblin, who was pretty much second in charge in the city. You're not quite sure what she does because she doesn't seem to have any fighting capabilities or any magical skills that you've noticed. But she was good at making pancakes, and she had a mechanical arm, and she was friendly, and eventually also led you to the realization that Jane was not Jane.
Mm-hmm.
As you went to investigate and eventually found the real Jane dead.
she also
know
had
that she
those
said
dark
she was
bath
timid.
earmuffs.
Yes,
Yeah,
because she
yeah.
was timid.
Yep.
And then investigation was had, and eventually they set up all these machines to try to re-establish a connection to the teleportation. You went to sleep in Mana's house in the magical room that changes appearance once you knock 3 times, and you imagine something. And it was also here after you had. So you. Let's see if I get this right. See if I get my notes wrong. I'm pretty sure. Shadow of a Thief. Yes, Shadow of a Thief. That's the next episode. So it ended with you going to bed in Mana's thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, you had already purchased some gear for traveling into the cold.
I think that
And-
was the next
Nah, that's
day.
Next day,
'Cause
what?
we went and we did everything all at
Yeah.
once because we'd learned there was a Madame Madrinas in
Session
the city
18
and all that.
is all of the.
Oh,
I
good.
believe that session
The
ended
shopping episode.
Mhm.
with
Pretty much, yeah. So the next, so this episode pretty much ended with you all going to bed and eventually trying to see what this room could do. And I think that that was
Visited
where it
Ingway's
pretty much
home.
ended. Yes, you visited Ingway's home, and yeah, pretty much that was where that ended. I think it ended with a nap.
Yeah, I think
And,
it ended with us getting up and heading out to go speak with
Mana.
Mana for what to do the following day, and that's when John took a sneaky little look in.
Took a
And
sneaky
then I
peek.
think we ended it there, and then we picked up with us going down for breakfast type thing, something like
And
that.
we leveled up.
Yes, and you
Yeah.
leveled up as well. Got your tattoos burning into your arms.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Thank you, Sean's wife.
Very well. And yeah, and that takes us to the next episode, 18, which was called Shadow of a Thief, I believe. Yep, Shadow of a Thief, which was episode 18. So, what do you have for that one, Celeste? Or Laura? Probably Laura.
I did the last one.
Okay.
Hmm.
Episode which had really good notes.
Oh, well, I can, but I think other people have probably much more comprehensive notes because mine is literally just a list of all of the items from that shop that I
Yeah.
crossed out.
Before the break, mine's just a list of all the items.
Yeah,
But I
I've got a
think that's
little
all that
bit.
happened, right? Yeah.
So,
go.
It's not much, but we went to the platelet market and the copper market. We'd been given direction to both of those, and we ended up going to Madame Madrina's to begin with, where we met. I believe their name was Costalos.
Costalos, yes.
Yep.
It was the hyena fella, which is the custom race. One of the custom races.
Jean got a shock when he learned what magic items cost. As you guys got yourself some wintry clothes, some whites with some things with some flair to it and all that jazz. We had it ordered. I don't believe it was picked up just yet. I think it was picked up after the break.
Yes, you ordered it first because it had to be made.
Yeah. Then we went to Wicker World, where there was Findle Wickenwick, something to that extent. And we spoke to them as well. I'm trying to remember which one was the actual magic shop. Was it Wicker World? We went.
Wicker World was the actual magic shop where you had Flicker Wigger. That's I think his name was Flicker Wigger.
We went to them first, I believe. Then we ducked out to Carl's blacksmith, and we went back because we went to go sell some goods first, and we met Carl, who had a good rep, and they were looking for silver. So they said, "Hey, if you come across any silver, come on back." And they were also speaking with someone by the name of Aramas Gucci.
Yes.
Who was bird-like in appearance.
There's an Aarakocra.
Yep. And then they were basically like, "Oh, well, my conversation's been interrupted, and looks like it's going to take a while. I'll be back." And they fucked off. Yes, and then we went back, and that's where we went through all the magic items, where we were offered a smorgasbord of options.
Yes.
Smorgasbord.
With the Flask of the Forgotten Will, the Cloak of Embers, Pearls of Water Breathing, Shield of Guidance, Stone Feather of Freefall, Spear of the Catalyst, Violet Gem, Heart Necklace, Longsword of the Moon and Sun, Metaphysical Orb of Deleting, Fork of the Feast, Magical Paint of Tools, Potion of Elegant Taste, which was a permanent potion, Longbow of Disaster, the Ring of Jumping, Braces of Missile Deflection, Deck of the Gambler, Potion of Answers, which was also a permanent one, Black Crystal Ring, the Battle Axe of Fear, Shields of Rolling Thunder, and the +1 half plate.
Correct.
And we bought the +1.
Yep.
You seem to be very upset about your choice, but yes. Correct.
Yeah. We then went off
the
and
coolest
also...
names you've ever seen, and then there's this thing.
What's that thing? No, you're not interesting. No, trust me, I want it. We also went off to find some ingredients, which I've got here. We picked up 2 diamonds, gilded flour. We ended up grabbing the half plate. We got the stone feather ring, I think it was it? Yeah.
It's not a stone feather ring. It's a stone feather.
Stone feather,
and there's also a ring, but that was a different thing.
That was a separate thing. Okay. Boom.
Yeah, most vanilla of items, sure. Right. It's
the
like
Violet
you go
Gem-
to a shop that sells sex toys and you're like, can I have some condoms?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take this vanilla flavored lubricant.
I'll take a chastity belt.
I'll take these fluffy
Grab a
handcuffs.
bottle of water, thanks.
Yeah, can I just grab a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Can I have a Coke, please?
Well,
On the back.
thirsty. Grab the Violet Gem necklace, 2 healing potions, spending a total of 3,350 gold, leaving 650 gold left over from our initial payment. And then we went back to collect them wintry clothes, which Celeste had found a letter wrapped inside for Celeste. Now, we don't know shit.
No.
But all we know is, well, we as the players know that the letter said Baal is not who he says he is. But then Celeste basically got rid of the letter. I believe ripped it up and then burnt it or something like that. Yeah. Yep.
Correct.
We ended up going back afterwards, speaking with Mana, basically figuring out, hey, when's the best time for us to go? What's the situation? She was like, well, we'll let you know when we're ready. It could take who knows how much longer, like take it to a couple days. It's not an easy task at hand. So we went back to the room where that time Ingwe had made it like a lake, like with surrounded by these trees that basically encircled the whole thing with these little hovels inside and that. And he was Ingwe was, I'll teach Jean how to breathe underwater with this reed. Jean didn't believe it all at first, but then upon finding out that Ingwe was able to make him breathe underwater, I put in full caps lock here. Jean has the best time swimming in the pond. Which, he ends up doing so to the point where whatever he had planned that evening, which he specifically requested his own little private room inside there, he completely forgot about because he had too much fun and ended up tuckering himself out and falling asleep on the front in his underwear right next to the pond. And then, the following morning, went over and spoke with Mana to figure out what was going on. She was talking about how her friend's house was left to her and she doesn't have need for it. And then Ingwe traded for it. She wanted to give it to us initially, and we're like, no, that's ridiculous. We can't just take a house off your hands. Ingwe's like, well, I'll trade you for it then.
Here's a nickel.
Yeah.
Here's some nickel.
What did I trade for it? Like, oh yeah.
It was like a twig with like a flower like wrapped around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and some acorns and a rock, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't been role playing yet, but it's worth noting that kind of like I'm assuming when I roll a bad perception check, I'm picking up random shit.
Right,
Like,
that's fair.
Because I keep giving them out, but I don't collect them. But like I also don't want to be like, oh yeah,
Bag
what
of
are you
random
doing
shit.
before we go to sleep. Like I'm picking up stuff all the time.
No, that's fair.
That's
Well,
why I'm distracted.
To be fair, as a druid, you have the counter druid craft, don't you? So you
Yeah,
can also just
which
make
is-
flowers.
Well, like, because that's like when I hand those things, because you guys are like, oh, that's a random, like, when I describe the random thing, I'm using Druidcraft to make it awesome. So, like, if
gotcha.
particularly if you're not a magic user, it's like a flower bud that turns into a flower in your hand, like that little girl. It's like, this is really cool because if you're not surrounded by druids, it's like, whoa, like, it was a snail and now it's a flower.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yep.
Very fair.
That's terrifying. But I do understand where you're coming from.
But also, in the back of my mind, it's also like a thing that Ingwe can remember to find that person as well.
Yeah.
Because it's all like they're actually really. He spends a lot of time on like creating these little things that are really important.
Like location. What are those Apple things? The tags. The little electronic tags.
Yeah. Like, exactly like that. That's
The Stalemate.
Yeah. It's like, this is a lovely present. In actuality, it's like, I got you. You're on my radar. You do anything, we'll find you.
Yeah.
We then got called down. We went to the house, and it was like, all right, let's go. We're ready to go. and we teleported across, and everything was fine. Nothing went wrong on the other side. We all it was fine, and we made our way down the mountain without issue. John never slid off the mountain, slammed into a tree stump, and nearly fell off to his death.
Well, I
It's
mean,
just everyone's imagination.
Roll a deception check.
Yeah.
keep it doing.
18. Woo!
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Why did you even bring that up? If I didn't
I
even-
just,
No.
you know, 'cause,
There was also one other thing as well in the lake room.
Yes.
Was Celeste spoke to Madame Madrinas as well.
yes,
That is correct.
Yep.
You did
Yeah.
have a
So-
very brief
Just
conversation.
Just so
with
we
her.
remember that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime I'm doing my notes, if there was a personal moment for your characters, probably good that you mention it because it's probably not in my notes. I try to only do stuff that John sees or experiences.
Hear no evil, see no evil.
Yeah, exactly.
My notes are just gonna be like, the party refuses to accept me again.
Day 749.
Yeah.
Yeah, day 42, they still haven't spoken to me.
Ingwe
I said
seems to
hello
think
Ingwe
that I'm
this
an animal.
morning, and he turned
Yeah.
away. He turned into a bird and flew off.
Yeah.
I thought Ingwe talked to me this morning, but he was talking to the squirrel next to me. That's going to be interesting to see how that
It's a
happens.
weird coincidence. The squirrel had the same name as me, but I guess things happen. Yeah, so we teleported. John nearly went ass over tits over the cliff, and we had a bit of a look around and saw a massive mountain in the distance. Mana informed us that she believed we were in Ogrellan.
Roland.
Yes, yeah. The mountain off in the distance was known as the Slayer, we were informed, because apparently people just pretty much don't come back from it. We learnt of the fact that there were like these orc tribes and that around with the Ukasaroon, who was the orc king / chieftain, who believes he is the chosen one. There's Aktaserok, who is the general of their army, also known as the Blood Renderer. Rudag Kasedan, who was, where was it? Friggin Rudag?
Yep, so
Which, because Kasedan is king, right?
so it's another word for king in Orcish.
Yeah.
So Kasedan, the Rudag Kasedan is the last name, and Kasedan is the title.
Then we've got the Orc Slave Traders prominent in this area, and they're sort of renowned for capturing outsiders and using them as sort of slaves and for labor and whatnot. And then we learned that the capital for these guys, where the chieftain resides, I believe, was called Shazani. Tzjazani. Shazani.
Sure.
Yep, cool.
Tashani.
Tashani.
Tashani. It's kind of like a Sa. Tashani.
Okay. Yeah, and then I believe we wrapped up as we were heading straight for the bridge. As we could see, like there was an ivory structure on the other side, like a city, like far off in that, but there was something closer to us. And we were on our way when suddenly we were jumped by what looked to be a ship, basically cruising atop the ice, dragging behind some individuals on boards, and yeah, that's when we left it there as we were about to get into the ship.
There you go. Definitely. And Ingwe asked the question, how long before this place it stopped snowing here?
Yeah. My boots told me
25 years.
Yep.
Even then, it'll just be like a really brief momentary break and then start back up again.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be like a day where the snow just like stops,
Either
and then
that,
day after it's like blizzard.
or Ingwe's boots just predicted the end of the world
True.
because it will stop snowing if there's no.
Dum,
Fine,
dum,
yeah.
dum.
We don't complete the if we don't stop the book, if we don't destroy it.
25
Dun,
years.
dun, dun.
The fire takes over everything.
It's pretty like crazy of you, Tom. Like I commend it to build this massive world with so much detail, and then only give people like 25 years to live in it type thing. And then just end it.
Who says you have
Start again,
25?
Like it's crazy.
It's like we still save the world. Like, you know, we
Yeah.
still like do the whole thing and save the world, and then it's like, and an asteroid hits.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs reawaken.
It's like those TV shows that end with the like that start with the end. Like this
Yeah.
is the end. Okay, we're gonna go back 25
Yeah.
years.
So season 2 is just going to be like post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
Fair. Right.
it's like Fallout.
Yeah, true. I think we should probably have a break.
Oh, we've only got one episode left.
Yes, but we can have that one after the break. And then we can talk about general thoughts and nightmares that I have inflicted upon you. Especially in
So it's like a
Rocco.
therapy session.
Yes.
Everyone go
Yeah.
get the tissues and get yourself a cup of tea.
Well, I'd say that the interesting part, for me, the interesting part is the next part mostly, because this is where people get to come up with their theories about things. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not right. I can say that you have been right and wrong about certain things.
Last recap, I predicted that Baal was BBG, and I'm standing by my hypothesis.
Well, you also have a letter this time saying he's not who he says he is, so what that
Exactly,
really
so I'm-
means. It could mean that his real name is just Bob
He's
instead
my
of
dad.
Bob. Oh,
He's the leprechaun. He's a short man.
but he doesn't have
Short
pointy
old
ears.
man with pointy ears.
Yeah,
Yes, correct. But you've always
This
been
guy's just one of those things.
yeah.
you've always been suspicious of Val from the start, so nothing new there.
Well, he keeps sending us into situations where we nearly die every time. So, like,
But you haven't.
nearly died? We have so nearly died.
You haven't died.
Yeah, but nearly.
Tell that to Tam.
Yeah, tell that and Valentina and
Well-
Luna. How many more people do we have to lose along the way?
Well, Val didn't employ any of them, except
No,
for
yeah.
Tam maybe, but Tam
Yeah.
came back.
He's tearing us
He
down.
doesn't want to
He's
play
just-
insurance on them, that's all.
health insurance. Nah.
I did not kill them. I did not. Wow, you're tearing us apart.
Well, fair enough. All right, let's go to a short break, and then once the break's over, we can continue with the last episode so far, and we can come up with general ideas about what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Swatted.
Yes. See you after our little
Bye.
break.
Bye!
Are you looking for a more exotic or sophisticated choice in dice? You should check out Level Up Dice, the company of experts in specialty dice, made from materials like semi-precious stones, aluminium, and even have options for wood and bone dice. The designs are so beautiful it's hard not to find something which fits your next character. Level Up is an Australian-owned company and also run the Level Up TTV Twitch channel focusing on broadcasting tabletop role-playing games. Follow a link below when purchasing from Level Up Dice. It will greatly help support our channel and also help an Australian local retailer. Level Up Dice, the sophisticated choice. Monsters and Mayhem is sponsored by Miniporium.net, a huge selection of highly detailed miniatures for any tabletop role-playing game. Check out the beautiful miniatures, and if you use the code MAYHEM, all capital letters, at checkout, then you receive a 30% discount. In the beginning there was nothing. From the nothing sprung forth a something. The something was not a who or it. The something simply was. The something began roaming the nothingness and found itself alone. In solitude the something became the somethings. multiple somethings sprung forth of the something, each with its own voice and presence. The somethings, as great as divine as they were, all needed something to measure their own greatness by. They created the first earth, and by doing so, became gods. The first earth was not perfect. In fact, it had many flaws. Because it was made as a circle, most things placed upon it would fall off the sides into the nothingness. The gods grew furious about the earth, and they cut it in half to make it flat. The excess was simply pushed aside and forgotten, at least for a while. The second earth was perfect, flat and vast. Each god began to populate it with creations and land masses of their dreams. Each god creating beings of their very own. Soon the world was full of inhabitants, and they all began to watch over their creations with anticipation. However, many creations did not turn out the way the gods had hoped for, and a lot of animosity was born over the first few years. The creations would go to war with each other and even themselves. Some of these wars even spilled into the realm of the gods, where the gods themselves would command their creations to destroy another god's creation. The gods were eager to prove themselves better than another, and a long bloody war was fought throughout the first era of the first 3,000 years. A massive war for survival was fueled by the gods themselves as the world began to burn. They started to see their own mistakes. The gods made many sacrifices and separated some races from others by magic or by using the elements of nature. They tried to stop their creation, and slowly a peace of swords came to be. And such a second era came to be with peace and kindness as its goal. Not every god nor every creature followed the peaceful ways, and some even broke away from their gods after such events. But for now the god wars were over, having successfully separated their creation to an extent, minimizing the overall doomsday and averting full chaos. For almost another 3,000 years the races had been completely separated. The gods had made a plan. The God Gate, located now in the Kingdom of Quill and where the borders of Okoralan is, had been inscribed with one of the family's life forces, the Karamashi. Once a descendant of that family were to attempt to open the God Gate, all races would once again have free reign. At the end of the 3,000 years, an unknown member of the Karamashi touched the God Gate, unlocking the prophecy. The mountain chains and oceans dividing the races all came down all over the realm. Great panic and rejoice at the same time, as creatures that had once only heard fairy tales of each other now once again stood face to face with one another. The gods had hoped that the last 6,000 years would have been enough for everyone to learn to coexist. But from the start the tension already started building again. Wherever fragile peace was on the table seemed to crumble and regather from time to time. But the time of the wars was surely not over. There was now other entities who spread darkness across the world. Maybe the world had learned its lesson, or maybe it was doomed to repeat it. Welcome to the world of Epidos, where adventures are born, heroes are forged, and villains are always up to mischief. The Kingdom of Quill lies in the middle of it all, the heart of human civilization, at least if you ask them. To the north lies the cold Shadanon, where Northling constantly test the borders to the kingdom with raids and invasions. To the south lies the desert lands of Zahani, ruled by self-proclaimed princes and empresses. The tension is at an all-high after a failed invasion into the kingdom years ago still sends trouble both ways. To the southeast lies the Dragon Empire, a proud people ruled by the Dragon Emperor, who according to legend are descended from a real dragon. The Empire has been locked in a cold war with the kingdom for generations, blocking all travel from entering the nation. But for the common folk, it's Monday. The birds are flying low and it looks like it may rain.
Jean Ortonfall spent his childhood on his family's farm, just south of the Duvet Forest. His parents, Durlin and Macy, had raised him well, teaching him what he needed to know to one day take over. Financially, they did quite well for themselves, carting their crops to nearby towns and cities for sale, although the frigid weather that often surrounded their home did not make it an easy life. As is the case with most youngins living the farm life, Jean eventually sought to see what else the world had to offer, and so he left in search of what opportunities the neighboring city had for him. It wasn't long before he realized the city life was not his to live. The boy who left, though, had become a man, and the man had met a woman, a blacksmith's daughter by the name of Cerithia. They fell for each other quick, and before they knew it, their love blossomed into a marriage and a son. The son they named Durlin, after Jean's father. Jean eventually returned home to his parents' farm with his family, where they made a life for themselves, a new life for his wife and son, but one all too familiar to Jean. They were happy. That is, until the day vile creatures from beyond the veil made their way into their home. After being driven from his homeland by the insatiable undead that now plague it, Jean seeks out those brave enough to aid him in cleansing his land of the foul fate that befell him and his family, and exacting the vengeance he so eagerly thirsts for.
As a child, Celeste Highcrest would never have dreamed of leaving the sheltered life of luxury she had become accustomed to. Born to two noble parents in a land far beyond the Vale, Celeste's childhood had been fraught with expectation. Her father, High Archivist Saran Highcrest, had set high standards for his two children, and the elder of those two elves, Celeste's sister Cressida, had surpassed all of them. Cressida had found her talents at an early age, her nose buried in books, and magic coming to her as easy as breathing. Celeste, however, had struggled in the shadow of her sister's success for as long as she could remember, never quite meeting the expectations of her father, and always the object of his disappointed glances. When the two elves came of age, they sat the entrance exam to join their father at the sanctum, to become mentored under his tutelage and scribe ancient texts in the archives. Cressida, to no one's surprise, had passed the exam with overwhelming success. Celeste, on the other hand, held true to her long-standing tradition of always being second best. It was rare that one should ever choose to leave their homeland, but never being able to escape the constant overshadowing from her sister, Celeste had decided it was finally time to break free of this tradition. For here, she would always be Cressida's sister, never her own person. But if she were to leave, perhaps she could finally forge her own path. She found her way to the dimension door, stepping through for the first time and finding herself in a land strangely familiar, yet unlike anything she had ever experienced. She boarded the first ship she came across, bound for the kingdom of Quell, and spent years traveling these oceans between continents, desperate to find something worthy enough to bring home as tribute to her family. Until one day, the news found her. The door that she had stepped through to enter this plane had vanished, along with every other door that could lead her home. Now stuck, seemingly an entire universe between her and her homeland, Celeste is searching for answers, and some miracle that could lead her home again.
A young half-elf, Tam Cawthon grew up working the land with his father and learning herblore and healing from his elven mother. After a horrible childhood accident, he swore he would avoid violence, unless he had no other choice. When the war came, like every Cawthon for generations before him, Tam enlisted to fight for his king. During the bloody battle for King's Helm, Tam's selfless efforts to heal his friends caught the eye of the celestial Aethia, and she became his patron, giving him the gift of celestial healing. His courage in battle did not prevent him from drawing the ire of his superiors. His compassion was blind, and he would heal all in need, even the enemy. After the end of the war, Tam worked as a healer in the villages outside Crackvolm, hoping to save enough money to gain entry to the Healers Guild. After a series of unfortunate events, Tam finds himself in debt to a very wealthy and very criminal cartel boss. Pinned between his compassion and his new master, Tam tries to make the best of his situation, dreaming of a day where he can live his life in freedom.
Ingwe grew up in an exclusive, reclusive community of druids. His elders, ancient and wise, one of the greatest, his mother, was a great storyteller, and he grew up sharing their stories. While the community has very strict rules and customs and routines, each member is encouraged once in a lifetime to travel out into the world and experience the trials and tribulations.
Again, for some weird reason, my camera isn't loading. Here we go. It's tinfoil hat time. If you're sitting at home and you are going to make a tinfoil too, you can take a photo of yourself wearing a tinfoil hat in front of the stream, and you can post it on our Discord. And you obviously can't make one that's better than mine. Mine's pretty.
What prize will they win for best tinfoil hat?
I will make a golden.
Hat.
I will make a gold sprayed tinfoil hat and send it to the one who wins. Definitely.
We'll make you like a specialized Discord role that's just like silver.
Or maybe this is
hat this week.
Or maybe it will be a little Vartex statue with a tinfoil hat on top. Depends on all the theories, huh? Anyway, yeah. So let's begin with the last previous episode that we played. Cold New World.
The only one I've watched fully live.
Well, then you should do the recap.
Should do that one, yeah.
Yes, I wasn't taking notes though.
Just
all I know is
spitball
that there was ice pirates that were then the captain came out and said, "Stop, she's a chosen one," because you had red hair, and then you went to some sort of tribal village where the elders met and was like, "Yes, you are one of us. You're a chosen one. Woohoo!" And then you crossed a bridge, got in trouble because Ingwe tried to mind read someone. Then crossed under the bridge because you had water walking. Jean saw another vision of his wife, got freaked out for like 10-15 minutes. And then had another meeting with the elders who then went, "No, we're not going to help you." And then someone did come and help you, and then you are off to go chase this thief.
Pretty
There
good.
you go.
Yeah.
Recap without notes.
I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, that's pretty much
basically it.
summarized.
You know what?
Yeah.
Like that. Talking on that meeting with the elders. You know what that reminded me of?
What?
It's that scene in like one of the. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but it's like, we recognize you as whatever, but we do not grant you counsel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, like
We do not grant you rank of master.
Yeah.
yeah, that was like we recognize that you're a chosen one, but we're not gonna help you.
Yeah.
See how that ended.
Didn't he go kill some like kids or something? I don't know.
Kills the entire village.
Younglings at Star Wars, they're called younglings.
Yes, because killing children is wrong.
And then his wife got so sad that she died.
Yeah, pretty much.
She died of a broken heart, supposedly.
Oh, yeah.
And then like their kids fall in love
Yeah.
with each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice to make them kiss each other on camera.
that
That was
absolutely
quite
George
funny,
Lucas
actually.
being like,
That was a
No,
good
but-
way to make sure people definitely didn't believe they were related.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had no idea at the time what he was doing. I think
He had
was
no
like,
idea.
They're not related. What are you talking about? No, this is great. And then like one movie later, someone's like, "What if they were related?" And he's like, "Oh,
One more boy.
That's how I D&D. That's how I D&D. Just wait,
That's what
Sean.
these sessions are for us.
Yeah.
What if
You and
this?
Danica.
Tom's like, good idea.
And
That's
what
fair.
time? For how long? Yep. Okay. Noted.
Tinfoil hat moment from Dizzy. BBEG is Celeste's sister because she knows Celeste is the only one who could reach her level of power. If only she knew how much power she had.
Would have put it past that fucking bitch.
Wow. We'll have a conversation later, Dizzy, about stealing my notes, but here we go.
And that's why Alexander came to help her, because he overheard plotting.
Did you click on that link, Tom? That link that they sent you that's like, check out playtest my thing. And you clicked on it and they stole all your notes.
True.
Sonus is actually a spy. They're out to stop Sonus from returning.
Maybe Sonus is a banger.
Yeah, Spartex is actually her dad. He's like, I don't actually want you to come home, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that would
Alexander!
be that Vartex would have been there before your dad had you leave. So yeah.
Unless he
maybe.
followed
The
me.
exact same time.
Or maybe that was another accident. Pretty much yes. You met some frost elves, the mourner as I call them, and you met Little Wolf, who was very insistent on wanting to help you, even though the rest of his crew, Autumn Breeze specifically, did not seem very impressed. And as you took the Sky Chaser to the village, and you were presented with the 75 elders of the tribes, you were approved to stay and to spend the night, but you were not approved to have any assistance because they did not believe that was part of their journey. However, you were also woken up by Little Wolf telling you that you need to go, as you and the snow leopard Frostbite ventured away from the village, and that's where we pretty much ended the episode. You also had some encounters with the other individuals in the village, one of them being the farmer and his daughters, after you failed a perception check and went to the wrong camp.
Yep.
But you met some new friends, maybe. The potion maker, as he was. And eventually you found the real people and ended up getting into a very bad conversation with some seemingly very bad people. One of the things that happened was that Ingwe decided to mess around with one of them's brains, which he didn't seem to be too happy about. It was very close to turning into a fight, and there were some threats of death. But you managed to get out of there with the information that you wanted. How cryptic it ever may have been, found out what they were after, which was the whole idea. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is a question that I had before, Sharok. In that role play, you mentioned the name of a noble. Was that like a name that you'd made up to be like, I'm making up a name, or was that like a name?
Kind of. So, little fun story behind that, actually. I panicked in coming up with a name. And so, yeah, it was 100% John making up a name.
Yes.
But I drew the name from a campaign I run, one of the
Oh,
players
yeah,
there. It's just like, Torrin, yes. The noble Torrin from the south, you know. Yeah.
Well,
From the north. Well, if I hear it south, I guess.
Yeah.
maybe the Tauren in my world is about to have an accident. Well, but yes.
Yeah, just like some random family.
You.
Some random family in Eros that just gets like wiped out completely. Next town we go to, there's going to be a town cry, and it's going to be like, Tauren family slain in their sleep.
Yep.
2 children left orphaned.
Bruce Wayne become an orphan after someone killed both his parents because of a mix-up with a name. Torrin Vane killed.
It's just an origin story for Batman now.
Yeah, exactly.
I am.
And Batman's a big bad evil at the end.
He's the Batman.
Seeking vengeance for his family.
Fair. Different.
I am injustice.
Right, but yeah, that's pretty much up to where we were. That's pretty much the last episodes we had, where you were venturing into the snow towards seemingly the green area.
We also
There was also that whole scene with Jean in the tree.
Yes.
Yep.
There was a tree that broke after you asked for some kind of sign from your wife, and you got it, but only a sign.
Something.
Yes.
Intentions I will not mention.
Fair. That's fair.
It's alright. Ingwe knows everything now.
Yeah, exactly. We also learned as well from memory there was the white shard, which represented their god, right?
Yes.
The frost elves.
So the shard or the white shard was was the village, and the shard, as they referred to, was an avatar or a champion of Liana. Liaru, as they call her, which is the goddess of nature for the elves on this plane.
Yeah.
Which they believe to have granted them special insight or special powers. You didn't get much into it, but there was a few things that was maybe a little bit out of the ordinary as well.
Yeah.
One of them was that there was a cleric for the shard who could not speak.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
But could still cast magic. So there were some signs of religious powers, at least in that sense. As far as you can tell, at least that was part of it.
Yeah. Because I had that, and the other two notes I had as well, which weren't mentioned, were that we learned of the holy creatures, the fact that they regarded the white stag the holiest of all the creatures, and they also considered the white bear and the white wolf holy.
Yes.
We also learned that we were being tracked in some element by a white hawk, which we assume were the white shard, but we'll find out. And lastly, the Jaegers, Sons of Jaeger, also informed us of a three-headed wolf that exists. Three-headed wolves.
That is true. You were told that there was a three-headed wolf out there that were fairly nasty to kill, but yes.
Yep. Sounded like they were basically being like, yeah, we hope you encounter one of those. It's like, why?
Yes, that's true. That's what comes from a failed insight check. It was a
Yeah.
minus. I think it was a natural 1, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. And
Knowing
of
us,
course,
probably.
Yeah. The last thing as well is Jean finally found all that gold that Celeste had been sneaking into his bag.
That is true, because you got a new
we got
backpack. Yeah.
backpacks. Yep.
Very true. Very true.
How much gold was
20.
Didn't get all the way in.
Because it was just like 2 or 3 at a time, I think, from memory. Yeah. But yeah.
Is the
I still
three-headed
got all that
wolf
gold
like
separate.
Cerberus
in my
except wolf?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close, Dizzy. It's pretty close. I know that there's a mini for it already.
Oh.
For no
just
reason.
in case you want to show us what we missed out on, right?
Well, I mean, it's this big.
Yeah.
I think it's called
It's going to be
Fenrir.
hard to see on camera, right?
Yeah. I just need to paint it up nice. I'm not that great at painting, so it's better if I have big miniatures.
Well, one thing where he levels up a few more times and he sees one.
Well, who says you're gonna level up
He's
first?
fond of wolves.
Lots of wolves. Yeah, but that's pretty much the end of what we've gone so far. So, what is some crazy theories that you guys have about what the fuck is going on?
Does
It
anyone
can
want
be
to go first?
anything from small to big. It can be literally, what do you think Naruto is playing, to what is cheese really made of?
This world. Oh no.
I don't want to. What are we churning here? I don't.
Making cheese from milk, eh? Milk? What?
Ew. Gross.
Weird.
I'm no farmer, but I don't
You
get cheese
discovered
from my
milk.
cows.
I'm gonna roll. Who wants to roll for it? First theory.
Are we rolling?
Why not?
What are we rolling? A d6?
D20 I did.
Oh,
but-
d20. I'm gonna use my chonky boy. Hello, chonka. Oh,
I got
God.
a 3, so
Let me roll in the box.
I got a 6.
I always
Hey.
kill these ones. I rolled a 15.
Right.
Hey.
I rolled a 13.
I don't actually have anything.
I thought everyone was pausing because everyone had one. It was like, oh, who's gonna go first? I think.
Fair.
Well,
Well, it can just be a theory about what you think is going on. It doesn't have to be like a elaborate theme, like this is the bad guy. Be whatever you want.
yeah, I mean, it's clearly all connected. but I don't have. I mean, I think I struggle with that, like the misdirection, because as like getting into that zone of Ingwe, it's like concentrate on the shiny thing that like Tom puts out there. Like that's my like my headspace is like shiny thing, and so I really struggle to follow the like the big cynical. It's funny because I'm in real life quite a cynical pattern person. Like I can like reading politics and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, that's just because of this other bigger issue. But like in this game, because I'm like so focused on playing a ADHD character, that I really find that I'm stuck in that mode, which is like interesting from an audience perspective. I always like when I get into fights with people, like arguments with Celeste or Jean in game, always like message them after, like, was that okay? I felt like you were really upset at me. Like constantly.
That's fair. Now we check in from time to time.
So upset at me. Right after, guys.
I struggle not to smile during like arguments in the game because I'm like, yeah, these are the character moments I love.
Well, yeah, and that last episode. So I suppose the thought that was in my mind is that often too, like that last episode, there's like often stuff that happens that you sit on and you're like, oh, okay, moments passed, I didn't do that, and I really struggle with trying to do the things that you think your character would do as the story kind of progresses. So obviously, like Ingwe can speak telepathically, and so there's a mute character that can't talk, but telepathy like bypasses that completely and just never got an opportunity to, which is probably realistic too, like if you just really rushing to not have it. But the fallout from, I suppose, where I'm really concentrated on, which is opposite to Tom's question, is the fallout from those relationships. Like Ingwe now has like gone into Jean's mind with permission, but still really uncomfortable. He was like, yeah, it's a really uncomfortable experience. Like the reason why the guy was angry is because it sucks when someone reads your mind. Like it sucks. And John's like, yeah, do it to me. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Jean was under the impression at the time where it was like, do it to me. And it's like, all right, we'll do it later. And it's like, okay. And then like when it got to that point, I don't think he was expecting it, like, because there wasn't much of a heads up. It was just sort of like all right, I'm going to do it now. Boom, in the head. And he's just like, fucking what? Hang on. I need to get in the right mindset here.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, no, that was legit one of my favorite moments from the last thing.
It's very emotional moment.
Angry, yeah. Yeah.
Some emotional
all those
moments.
things too, like you read like Facebook forums and this stuff, like never split the party, don't have fights with the people in the party, like all these things that like I can understand why they would be damaging in a game where you're not checking in with each other and having compassion for each other.
Correct.
But actually that's the cool stuff that you want to do. Like you want to experience conflict.
Yeah.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
I think that's one of the conversations we had maybe pre-stream last week, potentially, where I was like, Celeste is down to like verbally debate with anyone, right? Like she will get into an argument, you know, straight on it. Laura will cry if anyone remotely raises their voice at her. Like, I've been in situations, like, even if my mum used to tell me off when I was little, like, your room's not clean, I'd be like, I'm really sorry about it. Whereas Celeste is like, your room's not clean. It's like, yeah, well, fuck yourself. You know, like, being able to have those moments in character where you can explore those parts of, like, interactions and friendships and dynamics between people is so good. And to have a group of people that you trust with that, like Jacob said, like, Ingwe will go off at Celeste. I mean, like, Celeste will go off at Ingwe if he does something that she doesn't agree with. But Jacob and Laura are like...
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I see a lot of those messages around on the internets as well. I think as a general idea, it's a good idea not to split the party and not to have fights with your party members. But if you have the right party, everything goes.
Yeah,
and it should.
It's also a matter of not using it just to do it. Like, don't create drama for the sake of drama.
Yeah.
And just like, my character is shitty, so they're gonna pick a fight with anyone. It's like there has to be a moment, like a story-driven element to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, like
And, like,
like
your
Ingwe wouldn't
character-
steal from you specifically to steal something that you have for himself. It would be to have a character moment where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is interesting, and steals it because he doesn't know what stealing is.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And that's a very big difference between that. That's why this party is so amazing. Because literally you could role play cooking together for 4 hours and it would never be boring.
Yeah, 'cause
Flashback
it's also
memories of the Christmas special.
yeah, like the potion making. 'Cause it's also a matter of like knowing, like, as a human or like as a mortal, I guess, in Dungeons and Dragons, is that all creatures are not always led by impulse, and just because that's what my character would do, I find that excuse such a cop out. It's like, no, sometimes people know when to walk away. You know, people
Yes.
know when a fight is not worth having. People know to pull someone aside later and have that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
And if
You're
your
correct in
character's
that sense.
flaw is that they don't, a flaw is something you usually are trying to overcome with your character.
Yeah.
Yep.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
think-
just like real life,
yeah.
like you want to
Yeah,
get over the thing. Like, I'm really trying not to do the thing.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm bad at.
Yep.
I feel a lot of times people use that's what my character would do. It gives it a bad ring because technically it's not incorrect.
Yeah,
If it's used correctly. The problem is that what makes a character is a lot of things. It's like, how did you grow up? You grew up to never use electronics, for instance. You lived in an Amish area, whatever. Or then you got in. Then there's the community part. You get in a group of bad people, and they like rob other people, and you end up like it's okay to steal, like that kind of stuff. And then you have what would my character ideally do versus self-preservation, because a lot of people forget the self-preservation part, because in self-preservation part you will forget anything that you have ever done. If someone puts a gun to your head and says, I want you to not steal from me for 5 seconds, but you say that's what my character would do, you would fucking die. But in real life you'd be like, yeah, sure, I don't want to die, okay, and then you would go along with it, where the fear of consequences isn't as real in Dungeons and Dragons, because we have hit points, we have skills, we have all that kind of stuff. But people forget the self-preservation part, because that overrules anything.
Yep.
And if you have a character that doesn't have any self-preservation part, you probably wouldn't make it to level 2.
Well, it's like in a home game that we had a situation where, as a party, we would not back down against like evil, right? But then, like 2 of the party members were like rendered useless, like but with like poison darts, and like one of them had like their eye like cut out, and the other guy had to put his hands up and say, okay, we'll come with you, and let themselves be captured. Like, not I would keep fighting because that's what my character would do. Like, it's the same thing. That character 100% would normally stand up and fight and not let anyone boss him around. But in that situation where 2 of the party members were down, one of them was being like sliced into ribbons, you go, okay, we're giving in.
Yes. And that's a thing that a lot of people forget, because you can lose in Dungeons and Dragons too, even though you can never really win. Even though it sounds strange, but I think personally, I definitely think that the saying "that's what my character would do" is not incorrect, based on the right premise. I think it's just unfortunately misused to mean something different.
What do you reckon, Narocto, about coming into us as a group? Like, what like in your not giving away your character, although that's what I'm aiming at. Like,
who's your favorite?
How do you like? Because I think in this conversation, like we talk about, we need a wizard and we need a tank and we need a healer, but like as a role play group too, like I think there's an element of like, okay, we need someone that's a bit chaotic. We need someone that like really brings the seriousness. We need the glue. We need the like. What are you thinking about how you bring? What are you going to bring in terms of the role play element?
Role play element without giving away anything.
Yeah, that's a really tricky one.
This was a loaded question.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
probably... I have this idea of speaking in weird random metaphors every now and then.
Oh.
But not understanding personally what they mean.
It's a wizard.
Time is a stoop.
Time is weird soup. Oh, I'm so excited.
So yeah,
That's fantastic.
just stuff like, the bunny hops, but the snake slithers.
Why? I also was trying to come up with a random metaphor, and I also thought of bunnies hopping. Why? What?
It's because you're currently in the snow and there's rabbits and you saw bunnies last episode.
That's
maybe?
fair. That's fair.
That's gonna leave it at that and stop the brainwashing. Subliminal messages. All you see down there right now is just bunnies with a filter.
So I want to add some sort of that sort of element to it. Whether I'll be any good at it or not, I'll find out. But
What do you usually play? Oh, because are you a forever DM, or do you usually play like?
what you've seen in the audition, you saw my gnome character.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, I've pretty much been a forever DM.
You did play a halfling one time.
I did play a halfling. I played a gnome, and I'm playing a dragonborn in the Discord chats. And I did play another. I like a child dragonborn for like 2 sessions at some point. I don't remember what. But,
I'm excited for you to get the opportunity as well to like really get that insight into a character, because that's something that I find so like cathartic sometimes, is to just be able to like switch off from life for 4 hours on a Monday night and just be someone else and like really, you know. And it's so much easier because I've DM'd before to go into a D&D game and just know exactly what you're doing in terms of like, this is my character and this is who I am for the next 4 hours. Rather than a DM having a list of 20 people and going, I'm these 20 people for the next
I am
4 hours.
everyone, including all the random shit I don't even know exists.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to talk to a squirrel? Sure, he's now a kleptomaniac psychopath who likes to burn down churches.
Yeah, when I was playing the Oda the Gnome Wizard in the one shot that we did, that was fun because he's a character that I played 3 years ago, so I already knew how to play him and everything. So being able to play him again and get back into that mindset was just like, he's back.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I think personally it's going to be interesting when we have a new individual joining the party, because I obviously know what's going on, and I think Narakto made some good, interesting choices.
Hell yeah.
Which can be good or bad for a party, but we'll see. But
I wrote up a backstory. Sent it to Tom. Tom was like, this, and this. I'm like, okay, rewrite the backstory. Here you go. Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty spot on. That's pretty good.
I'm
right.
excited.
I have a theory, a tinfoil hat theory.
Tinfoil hat theory? You can have it.
I think that Ingwe's mother is somehow connected to the evil druids that are now, like, as part of that, like, evil druid thing. I think that she somehow, like, used to run with them or something before she, like, went back home to, like, settle down. Or there was, like, some sort of connection there with them, like the Furbolg, like the evil Furbolg.
Because that's a part of the evil Furbolgs is like a known part of my backstory.
Yeah, so they're technically connected to the community, at least. If that means that Ingrid's mom have been involved or not, that's not something that you know anything about. No. But there is a chance.
Yeah, I had a similar theory, and one of the reasonings behind it as well was the stories that Ingwe's been told. I thought it was almost like a way of basically getting Ingwe really excited for this world, and then being so disappointed when Ingwe goes out there that Ingwe's like, this isn't at all. And then when he goes back home, his mother's like, well, there's a group of people who are like looking to stop that sort of thing, or whatever their intentions are. And it's like, why don't we come along with that? It's almost like, as a mother, she couldn't give up Ingwe, let him go do his own thing or be separate. So it was almost like, let's sway Ingwe into this train of thought first and then bring him across.
And I'm so interested as well as to what, because druids don't like use metal, right? That's like a thing. But she's given him this like metal block, right? and it's
Yes.
like, where is this gonna lead him? Like, is that like a rabbit hole thing, like what Shirok is saying, where it's like it's gonna be like breadcrumb trails, where he like follows this breadcrumb and it takes him to like the hideout, or like unlocks like how to destroy them, or like there's something there that's like gonna
I
be.
love the story creation. So just to give, like, because we all have had like a really big backstory conversation with Tom, like for an audience perspective, and one of my really early, like, this is the kind of character creation that I'm thinking about, was like, I want to be a druid that goes out and does things not like a druid. Like, my character is at home lawful good, like follows the rules. Like, I am a lawful good part of a lawful good community, but the whole thing is go out and don't be lawful good for a little while. And one of those things was, druids don't use metal, so, but I want to use metal and just be really shit at it. And then, like, Tom says, like, before we go, like, here's some extra information. And one of them is you have this piece of iron, like, that your mum says is really important.
So it's actually it's silver. It's not just iron. It's like a silvery.
But it's like tarnished, right? Like it's like all like
Yeah,
orange
yeah.
and like tarnished and
When silver, the ages, it turns green and it becomes like thick
Trust me, I
and
know.
full of grime and shit like that. So that's what's going on.
My
That's why it's
grandma collects antiques, and the amount of weekends I've spent polishing silver,
Yeah,
I know.
me too. I've done that too.
Panicking.
Yes, that could be a whole episode just polishing silver.
Yeah, so that's good. That's I've forgotten that was fed to me. So I just like spewed that stuff out, but that was not. That
was just
come from me.
It was given to you as a token of one of the things that she had found while she was out in the world. So
100%.
Yes, that's my tinfoil hat theory.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, sounds good.
Because what has been written on that so far, on that iron block? I mean, on the silver block.
Like,
I'll find it here as well.
It's like random words and like a 2 or something. It's like.
It's not been the same words next to each other. It's been a little bit random which ones has been unlocked, if you can say it like that.
I think I've written it actually in somewhere sensible. No.
Why would you do that?
That's right, you.
Sun Bullet 23 follow. I think that's what I've got.
Yeah, so like
I think there was a poem as well, wasn't there? Let me have a look.
Probably.
Because I've noted them down here every time.
I had it written down when I was writing notes. And then... Yeah. So
Let
cool.
me find it. I have a specific
Is it
one.
sun
just
as in
for
like sky sun or like my offspring sun?
sun, like the sky sun.
Yeah.
That one there.
Something cool.
And under Jacob's personal folder.
Yeah.
Don't share the pics. We don't need to see that. Not on live stream anyway.
That's a lot of feet.
It is our rating stream.
So
Join our OnlyFans.
So there's one part of it where it says 23x, and then there's the word sun, like the sky sun. There's the word palm, which could be a palm tree, it could be a hand.
Oh.
There is the word follow and bullet. So you unlocked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words so far.
Yeah.
So
And
I
there
can read
was
that.
the other thing that's in my notes that I've lost, that I forgot to keep doing whenever we went into a bar, is there's like a saying that Mum told me to tell all the bar people.
Yes.
What's that saying?
Let me find it. I just closed it down.
Pop it back
On
in
the
my
spot.
notes. I could probably scroll back through Facebook. Facebook's such a terrible use of communication when you want to keep lore stuff.
Yeah, the Discord is a lot
That's why we
better for
have the
that. Definitely.
Billion channels of lore.
Yeah, poor Naracto. We added him to the cast member role in Discord, and it's thousands
It's literally
of
a
extra
channel that just
Yeah,
says
it's like the
lore.
Matrix.
Yeah.
I know Discord foo. Show me.
It's like all that random inane, just like I want to remember this later, so I'm putting it in Discord so I can like find it.
Let me see if I can find it here.
I like to how the contrast between Ingwe and John, where it's like Ingwe's backstory is just like, even if I can't remember my backstory, you know it, because Ingwe's open book, and John, like, I have to keep remembering, Jacob knows this information, but Ingwe does not.
Yep.
I did not write that down in this document
That's all right,
here,
I'll
so I'll have to
written
find it.
somewhere.
That's why I'm constantly thinking, like, even just then when it was like, anybody else got any other tinfoil things? I'm like, I was thinking of one, but I don't think I can talk about it yet. Maybe next recap.
I'm the same. I've got like so many things where I'm like, I want to talk about. Okay.
Well, you can talk about anything you want if you're theory crafting.
No, I refuse. You can't make me.
I can.
I'm interested to see whether
27
John's like
points.
possessed or something. 'Cause he keeps getting like.
Yeah, that
just
I will
the,
say.
Saw the episode where he was floating above the bed, and then
Yep. That I'll say. That's something I don't know, and I'm wondering too.
Got like random like ghost appendages sticking out of him. Like him like walking down like the street one day, and we just see like a head like just emerge from the back of his head and look at us, and then disappear again. It's like, Sean, I need you to drain that.
What else do you got? What else do you have that you can talk about or want to talk about? What's going on with Bao?
Don't know. You tell us.
I will slowly.
You know in the scene, in the ballroom scene, because I wasn't there for that bit. You said Baal went upstairs to investigate. There was like 3 people that went to investigate because Tam said, or John or Tam said, "Oh, I saw something," and then 3 people went upstairs. Did we see Baal upstairs?
Yes.
We did, yes.
Because Tam was running with Klaus, and then he handed Klaus to Baal as he ran into the room.
Yeah. So there was oh man, hang on, let me get the names. It was
It's the vampire.
Yeah, so it wasn't
lady.
like
yes.
3 people went to look, and then suddenly Death's there, and Baal's nowhere to be seen.
No.
No.
So from memory, I believe Elena and Anya went up first. Jean was basically like, some shit's going on, I'm about to go check that out. Baal was then told, Jean went up, and then I believe Baal came up just after Jean. So I think it was 3 of them there.
So it was Isadora and Anya, not Elena. But thank you for
Isadora,
the
sorry, yes.
Diaries reference.
And both of them were there.
Yeah.
Like, so when we walked in, they were part of the fight. So there wasn't any like mysteriously not there people.
Baal didn't go into the fight. He was keeping track of the boy and alerting the guards.
Yeah. Who the young boy then robbed Celeste blind.
Yes.
Tried to.
Yes, true.
Well, he succeeded technically.
Yeah.
She got it back straight away. She let him.
I have a question.
Yep.
No.
So I've told you what I feel like I could bring to the group.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys looking forward to me potentially bringing to the group?
That's a good one. What are you looking for?
I think one of the things, and this is probably feedback generally to all the wonderful applications that we got, and it was interesting too because the like standard jumped massively from the first time around to the second time. Was that sense? I think we had that conversation before about being a forever DM, and that sense of like coming into the group with an understanding that actually it wasn't that you had a specific thing, it was that you really put out that you were going to be like, oh yeah, I can see what that person's trying to do, I'm going to add to that and build on it, and I can provide something that does that. And I think even like between your video that you did and then your next thing, it was very different. You were like, oh, what are we looking for here? How can I advance this story? How can I clue into what Tom's trying to do? And that ability to understand that a DM is trying to create a story, and like let's latch onto those hooks that he's throwing out there. It's like there's options. There's definitely not like this is the way that you have to go. Here's a few options. Where are we going to go? Oh, you've done something different, but also not the like, what would my character do? My character here would be doing this. Okay, that derails any chance from anyone else to join in, right? Like, so I'm actually not sure the answer to that question. Like, that's why I asked that question, because I think that you are a person that has looked at our group and gone, oh yeah, I think I can do this, and I'm really interested in finding out what this is.
Yeah. It's a similar sort of thing for me as well, where I'm more so excited and curious as to the possibilities of what you can bring. Like, I've already thought through so many things. I'm just like, what would someone else coming into the party do to Jean? Like, what kind of figure would this be? Like, because like, for example, a little bit of Jean insight. Jean, sort of, while he didn't show it much, there was a little bit where he kind of latched onto Tam a little bit, because there was a familiarity in like the simple beginnings and the farm life and that sort of thing, where Jean was like, I know this, I recognize this, I can relate to this, as opposed to like, I come from a druid tribe from like another realm and this is that, and it's like, yep, I'm from a place that's been cut off from this reality, and like so like it was almost like this when I don't
You're traveling with two people that aren't even from your world.
Yep, exactly, yeah. So Jean was in one of those situations where he didn't fully agree with Tam's way of going about things. But there was enough similarity there that, like, when things got confusing, Jean would pretty much turn to Tam and sort of be like, I don't get it. I'm hoping you can explain it, type thing. Because he almost served as a bridge. So there's almost a part where I feel like Jean's a little bit out in the dark now, to an extent, of certain elements, and so I'm very curious to see, like, if your character comes in and has things that Jean can latch to relate to and that sort of thing, or if it'll force Jean to have to like try figure out more about this world and try understand it, if suddenly your character is even more like magic driven or from somewhere that Jean doesn't understand and that sort of thing. So like, I think there's so many cool branches and possibilities, which, because literally the decision of the type of character that comes in, I think will drive Jean's direction and personality for how he's gonna basically see himself fit in this group. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see what you bring to it, because it's not only just from the perspective of having someone new and what you're going to bring to it, but also I want to see what it's going to do to Jean as a character. So yeah.
How old is your son, Sean? Just checking.
He's come out to find Dad.
Yeah.
Daddy.
That would be so funny.
Talk about ways to affect Jean.
I think the thing that I'm most excited about, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with you specifically, Narakto, but I definitely feel like it's something that I'm really looking forward to, is that this party, in terms of a Dungeons & Dragons, like, adventuring party, is in its infancy right now. Like, level 5, they've been traveling together for, let's say, like, 4 weeks, like a month, right? And they've only just realized that they've got these, like, tattoos, and it's this whole big thing. In terms of story, this is the infancy. This is the first couple chapters of the book. And I am so excited to see what we're going to be like. Hopefully, we have another 15 levels to go, right? And then just having those, like, stories and those connections and that whole, like, you know, I would die for you, brother, we're family now. Like, because at the moment, there's still so much tension in the party and so much disconnect between, like, what Ingrid wants to do versus what Jean wants to do versus what Celeste wants to do. They are all doing different things, but right now at this very moment there's this thing that joins them together, right? So they're kind of, I feel like, in mindset like, okay, let's go and we'll follow this thread and we'll get this thing sorted, and then, hey, I've got a thing that I got to do, so it's been great hanging out with you, but catch you later. So I'm just really excited to see in the next even like 5 to 6 levels what that bond and what that moment and what that thing is going to be. That's like, okay, we are in this together forever now. Like, I'm so excited for that, and I can't wait to to see what that is.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's so much, like Jean hasn't told us exactly like what he wants to do, and like Celeste hasn't shared what her like plan is, and it, like there's all this. I mean, Ingwe has told. I was
Ingwe's
born
like,
on the
"I am 7
12th day. Yeah, like Ingwe, like level 15. I've only been here a week. What's this?
Actually, I had a thought a couple of days ago, which was just basically like, what if this whole adventure is just someone reading the book that Ingwe wrote? Because this whole
my God,
adventure
that's so
started with
cute.
Ingwe's day one.
Well, and because that's Ingwe's backstory, right? Like
Yeah.
his, and it wouldn't be a book that he wrote; it would be oral. So Ingwe's really intelligent, but part of the reason why he wants Celeste to read to him is because he doesn't know how to read. But he will, in that conversation, will learn how to read really quickly because he's really intelligent. So the reading thing in the medium term is not going to be an issue. But like we went in the library and the dice played out what Ingwe was, which was a person that couldn't read. Not because he couldn't read, but not because he didn't have the skill, or because no one had ever taught him to read.
Yeah.
But his backstory is go out into the world and then come back and tell everyone what you did. Like that's, and then of the 4 people that also went out into the world, kind of status is about how cool your story is. And then in the background though is like some of the top storytellers are like, oh yeah, I went out to the world and I hung out with a halfling family and we farmed for 25 years and we'll tell a 6-hour story about like reality TV styles, right? Like this is the coolest story because of all the personal drama that's so unimportant, but like we're way on board. Like she hooked up with him in the background, like oh! And that overtook like Asmodeus burned down the world. No, we were in like the Shire, and like that 30-year period is just like farming in the Shire with like The Bachelor 2.0.
So interesting note is also that you're looking for a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not related and maybe not related. But...
Well, and that's why it's so funny too.
I know we're talking about books, though.
That Ingwe's mother wrote a book.
She wrote a whole series of books.
Yeah, so far you found 3 of them.
Is not a thing from his tribe. Like writing is not a thing.
No.
Your mother's a weird lady.
Yes.
Hey, buddy, your mom's weird. Thanks, man.
No, but I'm just so excited to see what Narakto brings, and like not like in a pressure sense, like I can't wait to see what you bring to the table, but more just like I am excited to see the party dynamic shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? Like I feel
really
like the party is in quite a weird period where they're kind of on the brink of like.
You also have 2 very chaotic characters, and then Sean being the grandfather of all.
I had to stop and think for a bit because I was making characters. I could be this, and then I went, wait, I'm probably gonna have to play this character till level 20.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to think about this.
Yes.
And it's such a good idea to memorize your backstory because Tom will drop just something in a random sentence that is so obscure, you know, and just be like, oh yeah, like I spoke to like this person. And that person is someone that you mentioned in your backstory once that your character was friends with 20 years ago. Like it will be like a moment where it's just like,
I usually
wait a
have
second.
So I've got Notepad open at all
Already
times
had a
while
couple
playing.
conversations like that, I think.
Yes, there you go. And that's where I put all my notes, and at the very top I basically have bullet points which are all just like little notes from my backstory just in case, including like all the names and things like that. So they're just ready.
Yes, and I'll give you a list of similar situations soon, Rocco.
Anytime Tom mentions a name, we just all control F in like our Word docs.
Search Google. What's this mentioned in the
I haven't done
recap?
that before, but I will be doing that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair. Does anyone else have any more theories that they want to share?
I feel like my brain is going like 10,000 miles an hour, but I can't make sense of like. I mean, it's so good having these recap sessions where we go through everything. Like that thing where I'm like, oh my god, Bartex is a leprechaun. Like that's who like that moment there.
Yeah.
Having that realization, and I'm so keen to see what Baal's deal is with Madame Madrinas. How she like wrote that note to Celeste, just like, he's not who you think she is. And then she was like, okay, well then who is he? And she's like, TTYL.
Well, isn't who you think he is. He's my lover.
Stay away, bitch.
Well, I mean,
It was a warning.
Yeah.
yeah. So theoretically, in one of our one shots, you met Madame Madrinas, or at least you met an advocate of Madame Madrinas. And I would like to say that I did only change that for the one shot, so you still do not know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just so you don't
Assumed as much.
assume that it is the truth.
Yeah.
Even though it was an elaborate truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's like a few theories I've had over time, and some which have been answered.
That noise.
Patty! She's playing with a bottle.
There's someone tap dancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, there's one thing in particular that keeps coming to mind, and I can't talk about it until probably next recap, because it's starting to come to fruition. And I think it's something where I'm just like, yep. So my mind keeps going there, so I'm struggling to think of the other thing. And I'm just like, wait, what were the other things I had in mind?
So the party's travelling into the mountains at the moment to try and chase this thief, which we believe is the leprechaun, who is also the being that locked Celeste in this world.
Yes.
Is what this recap has been about.
It's
at the
not
moment.
just
Pretty much.
Celeste though, it's
Everyone.
that you cannot travel between like dimensions
Right.
at this point.
Okay.
Like you
You
can't.
can't
act
travel
like...
to the Feywild, and you can't travel to the Shadowfell. That's all locked down. There are maybe other options, but
So, and Ingwe's from this world too.
yes.
It's Ingwe's not from a different plane. He's just from a place over there.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's
just like-
very much from the world.
But
It's
he's
just
from
like
an isolated
cut off.
area. He's just not
Yeah.
really like civilization. It's not
Like
really a thing.
think Amish in America.
Yeah.
Like in America, the Amish are there.
He's an
like,
underdog verbal.
yeah, that's very much.
But it's like they're part of a different world because they've cut themselves off. I
yes,
think.
it's a very much a like you can go there, but you're only going to go there for a novelty because it's
Yeah.
inconvenient.
John is 100% interpreted as you're from another dimension.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's 100% under the where it's like it's so isolated. This is that, and based on what Celeste has said about her home and things like
Yeah.
that, he's just like,
You
okay,
travel
yeah,
through the
I guess
trees.
I don't understand it. That I guess that makes sense. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Just going with that. Like for him, it's just like I'm from way out back. That's how he explains he lives far away type thing. Yeah.
But when we go, if we go to where the dwarves are from, you'll have the same this is another the differentiation between dwarf cave and Feywild. It's
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a different place.
Yeah, now you're in the Auckland. Now you're in the whole different, almost continent, whole different region.
particularly if we teleport everywhere.
You won't.
Can't wait for Ingwe to get the tree spell
The
where you can
tree spell.
teleport to any tree that he's ever seen. Where it's where do we want to go today? Oh yeah, I remember there's a sapling that I saw one time. It's been 20 years. It's probably grown enough. Let's go.
Just picturing Ingwe being like, let's
Hey,
teleport
buddy,
to the tree from inside that room at Mana's place, and just opening up and walking through, and just going nowhere. Just we're in a portal of nowhere. It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not a real
Fuck
tree.
dimension.
Back on the mountain.
Nothingness. Yep.
That's fair.
I'm excited to see what's behind that door that you couldn't get through when Tam's tattoo went flying.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting step.
How are we gonna get back there, y'all?
You know
I mean, I
exactly
don't
where
even know. I
I'm
might not have a tattoo. Who knows?
Yeah, you're just some random guy.
Well,
Hey y'all.
Genuinely, that could be a super interesting idea. I like it.
We have to find an NPC that has the tattoo.
Yeah. Cut off their arm. We're the good guys.
You never know.
Yeah, but how are we gonna get back? We're like a long way from home, buddy.
Yeah, and she can't teleport you.
There, you can teleport back.
No, you can't. There's no one there to teleport you back.
She didn't teleport us.
She didn't do it.
Yeah.
The machine did.
Welcome back, Dizzy.
The machine teleported you through the existing teleportation. So, however you're going to get back is an interesting question. You're very far away from home.
Yeah, very
John's
far
been
away.
working on the teleport spell.
I looked at
That's fair.
He just like he sees what Ingwe does with like getting a pinch of dirt and then getting like some, and John just starts like grabbing like random bits of like dirt and like rubbing his hands.
Well, I mean, there is some options. One of them is that there is a river that goes the whole way if you want to sail, which is a frozen-ish river, so that's not necessarily super safe. You know that the airships go to Okrolan somewhere, and teleportation, hitching a ride with someone, flying creatures. There's a lot of options.
Walking.
I was going to say, yeah, good old-fashioned footwork.
There'll be you gain 3 levels just from walking.
Just imagine like Celeste like casting like sending to Baal and be like, hey Baal, we need a ride. We seem to have gotten ourselves lost. Can you please get us at these coordinates?
But I have all these jobs that you haven't showed up for.
We're lost. Come pick us up.
Baal, we know
How
your
many
secret.
jobs in Ogralan by any chance?
Yeah.
All right. Well, if no one else have any interesting theories, I think maybe we'll end it a little early today.
Yeah.
I need to get something to eat and sleep. I'm not feeling well.
Theories are there. Just, spoiler.
So
cast.
excited.
Background
Okay.
spoiler cast.
Is Daniel in next week? Director, sorry.
We'll find out.
Okay. Seeing as John's not sharing any of his theories, before we go, I would like to share my theory of John, where he's going, because we didn't meet his dad, but he met his dad his uncle, his
father-in-law.
Father-in-law.
He met his father-in-law in the intro.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a zombie apocalypse scenario that killed his son, which we know.
Or his
wife.
His wife and his
Whose
son's still
backstory are
alive.
you talking?
The son's still alive,
yeah.
So the rise of the undead has to have started, or I think it will have opened first where John is, and I think we'll have to go back to John's house to find the book. That's my theory. Like, I think the thing that we're looking for is going to be at John's house, or like somewhere that he recognizes. It's going to be like whatever started the thing is going to start where John.
Like the portal to hell opened.
And he is possessed, and he's possessed by his own wife.
Yeah.
Who's the big bad evil? And we have to kill John.
No, I reckon. I don't think his wife's the big bad. I think he's possessed by his wife's done the like Harry Potter thing. Like, I love this person so much, I'm going to sacrifice. But then he's just so gullible that he's like, we've already seen him be tricked. So the big bad knows that his wife is the like Harry Potter, I can't defeat this scenario, and just is going, okay, that's a thing that exists. I can't defeat that yet. I have to get Jean to kill his wife. So, like, I reckon that's the whole thing. Like, Jean, like, Ingwe's gonna like potentially kill the big bad's nemesis, which is Jean's wife. That's like done the spell, the Harry Potter like, I love you so much, I'm gonna protect you. Because secretly she was magical and just like, oh man, I love this dude. He doesn't understand any of the magic. He thinks I'm so amazing. Like, the house is always clean. Prestidigitation. He thinks I work so hard, but I've just been reading all day. Like, out to the fields, buddy. Like,
Off you go.
That's fair.
I like the theory.
That's a lot of good theories.
I reckon the wife is like, and I reckon they're going to get to a point where it's like, kill the wife, and it's Like, they're just going like, oh my god. And then,
So here's an interesting question I have for each of you, for 3 of you at least now, because Noctur haven't played this character yet. Jean has learned about magic, but what about resurrection spells? What would he do if he knew about that?
I know. We'll find out one day.
What? Ingwe, what would you do if your character became a god?
yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, that's not a.
That'd
because
be
he's
an
not a-
awesome story.
Well, that sense of the
Yeah.
book can make gods. Like, he's so confused why we're destroying the book.
I imagine
Already.
if Ingwe became a god, it would be like a cross between the Great Lebowski and Loki.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of just like the friendly chaos god.
Yeah, but
Very true.
remember, like, you've got to remember too that, like,
Yeah.
Ingwe's, it's an act. Ingwe, like, I'm acting as an actor acting.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Ingwe, deep in his heart, is a lawful neutral. Like, it's probably more like, if Ingwe was a god, it would be more
Yeah.
like, who's the bad guy on the Avengers?
Depends on which one.
Thanos.
Thanos?
Like, I think Ingwe would be Thanos. Like,
Okay.
the world like, why are all these people eating each other? Like, kill them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Fair.
that kind of, like, that the way that lawful good can be evil.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's-
there's so
that's-
much evil in the world, but which is so not Ingwe. Ingwe's like, oh, I love everyone. I love the fact that these people
Yeah.
are eating each other. Like,
Yeah.
Fair
It's
enough.
true lawful. It's logic driven. But that's sort of where I go with the Loki side of it, because while Loki seems chaotic, really Loki is in control the whole time. So that's where I see the Loki side of it, where it's just like
Hmm.
Ingwe knows when to stop and not type thing for the
yeah,
most part. Yeah, understands. Yeah.
So I have a question for Celeste. Save the world, the mortal plane, or go home.
Yeah.
Go home 100%.
Kill everyone.
Yeah, she has plans. Her life is on pause right now. Like, this whole quest that she's doing, it's her annual leave. Like, she has plans on what she's doing when she gets back home, and she just got to figure out how to do that. And then she's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, at that teetering point of like, she's got to get this thing over and done with, and then she's like, anyway, I got shit I got to do. You know, in terms of my lifetime, I have known you this much.
Yep.
I've got
Yep.
shit I gotta do. Like, that's why I'm like waiting for that moment, that thing to happen where she's like in it, like 100% in it.
It's an
It's very
interesting
frustrating as a
concept, isn't
player.
it? Like, if your lifetime is 1,000 years, like, Jean's sense of urgency and ideals is very human because he's a human.
Yep.
But if your lifetime's 1,000 years, John's irrelevant. Like, John's whole sense of his wife diving is just irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, of course, it's like
1,000 years isn't
Chickens.
even in 1,000 years is like material plane time.
yeah.
Like, in terms of if she went back home,
Oh,
1,000 years
yeah.
would be like
Yeah.
nothing. Like, that's why it's so frustrating for me as a player, because number one, Celeste has so much shit in her backstory because she's so old, right? Like, and it's so frustrating as a player because I am, yeah, like I've said, I'm waiting for that moment where she's like in this now. She's like, okay, I've got this connection now, and I want to see all this stuff through, because everything for her is temporary, and nothing in her life has proven that it's not temporary. Like, Tom can, you know, there's so much stuff where she's been like, been there, done that, all right, bye. Like, she's, yeah.
Right.
You're gonna
So-
make friends with Lol.
Hey, what's up, girl? Thought I'd come hang out with you for a while.
I fell in love with a dude too. Pregnant.
Girl, saying we should start a support group.
Pregnant elves gone bad.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Because Celeste is also like chaotic neutral. Like, she's very much self-motivated.
Yeah.
She's like, she should be that person where it's like, you give her 10,000 gold to do this thing, and then someone else is like, hey, I'll give you 11,000. She's like, deal. You know, like she's very much that person that's very she's a very, very selfish person. And she tries very hard not to be, because she knows that that's a really big, you know, she tries to like think of other people's feelings and stuff, but deep down, that's an act. You know, she's like,
That's such a funny, like...
It's about the demeanor and nature. It's very interesting.
The lawful good character pretending to be chaotic, and
It's,
the chaotic character pretending to be good.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've really loved about playing Vampire the Masquerade, is that when you make your character, you have to pick a demeanor and a nature. And the demeanor is what you pretend to show, and the nature is what you actually are. So if you're doing things that you don't actually want to do pretending, you won't be able to like regain humanity and stuff like that, because you actually don't give a shit about it, but you're doing it to keep up a facade. But where the nature, the basic nature of the beast, that's like a vampire, you want blood, but you can still be good under the right circumstances.
I like it.
Without giving like too much away, Celeste, her whole life has been like on a stage, like a play. She's been a part of this whole thing, and she's been pretending to be someone else every step of her entire life. Like, and it's so fun as a player to have all these different motivations and stuff behind every single thing that she's doing, and every single relationship that she has, and every single conversation that she has, where really there's like all this stuff in the background that no one on Earth, not her family, not even herself, like actually understand about her, and it's just... Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah. And how Tom lets us do this shit and get away with it.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Because it's funny, because with you saying that as well, like early on, I was like, okay, as I'm getting a feel for the characters, I'm like, yep, I think Jean's going to have trouble getting along with Ingwe because of how different Ingwe sees things. And like Celeste has a little bit more grounding and is wiser, so I can see like sort of the wise element connecting there, and Tam was with obviously like just the relatableness with the farm and all that sort of stuff. But like with saying that sort of stuff and with our discussions about the characters in that regard, I think if it came down to it and it was like the deepest like moment of like true nature of the characters, funnily enough, I think Jean would have the biggest problem with Celeste in that regard, because it's just so, in that regard, yep.
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
Why do you think she is so nice to him?
Yeah.
It's like always inside. Yep. She's like, Ingwe, that was a very, very bad thing to do. Inside, she's like, hey. That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh man, right.
That's fair.
Ooh.
Should we find someone to raid?
I think that Narakto should choose a raid.
That is a good idea.
That is
a good idea.
And I always roll shit anyway.
It's alright. Turok gives us options. You don't have to. You just Turok says, "These are the 4 options." I want that one.
Oh, okay. Hey, there's this Monsters and Mayhem group that's live now.
No, they're terrible. We did it once before.
No one was paying attention.
Also,
and the game master was so shit.
I rolled. I was like, just in case we would have rolled for it. Rolled, also got a 5. I never roll high on this thing.
I got a 9.
It's hitting
It was always Adam that always like won it. Like he was always like.
Yeah, he was pretty good at that.
I rolled a 19, so.
Okay, well I'm gonna. If everyone else is rolling.
I rolled a 13.
It's still okay.
4.
Right, let's see what the options are today.
Not many. A lot of reruns.
No point in raiding those ones.
Okay, we've got 3 options I can see. We've got Not Rob May, who's playing Rising from the War. I'm not sure if that's an existing campaign or not, but yeah, they're playing. They're on session 29. There's another group called GM Workshop who is doing a chat plays. And so it looks like they are doing I see a Pokemon on screen, so it looks like a Pokemon themed D&D story.
Dungeons and Pokemon.
And then lastly, there is Dreaded DM who are doing Module Monday. They're doing Storm King's Thunder.
Oh yeah, they're pretty cool. We had one of their guys from their drop in here earlier.
Yeah, last.
Good. No, this guy. There was a guy earlier today who said he was from Dreaded.
Yes.
Blimp, I think it was, or Plumph, or something. Plumph is a great name. But,
Yeah.
I like the Dreaded GM, I think.
Yeah.
What?
Out of the three.
Let's do it.
I've seen him a few times, so.
Yeah, it's pretty
Monsters
good.
and raid him in their chat.
That is true. I will get myself ready.
Drop the emotes if you have them.
I can
or
take
say
the hat
hi.
off now.
And if
I've
we
got
stick
them.
around, chuck them a follow as well. Give share the love, especially because it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, it's doing the countdown now, so we'll be ready to raid in about 5 seconds.
Oh, good. Sounds great. Thank you, everyone, for dropping in, listening to some jazz music, and chilling out with us, drinking some coffee, theory
Questions, your
crafting.
own theories.
That is a good place for me to make some up.
Love you so much. Happy Valentine's Day.
We're ready to raid.
See you, everyone.
3, 2, 1.
Night.
Monsters and Raid Ham. See you guys.
50 kill wheelers, they're massive.